95 corridor. On New York's Long Island, Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman.
This storm will be a profound storm, one that will reach blizzard level with high winds of 50 to 60 miles an hour, and we could have accumulation exceeding 18 inches, which would definitely be historic.
Renewed concern as U.S. measles cases rise to nearly 1,000, say federal health officials. There were 2,200 last year. You're listening to ABC News.
Offer not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Honey, our credit card bill came and it's higher than last month.
How? We haven't charged anything.
Paying the minimum isn't enough. It will keep getting higher until we take control. We need to go to 47fastcash.com.
With our bad credit?
47fastcash.com can help any credit type get approved for up to $5,000 in minutes.
Take control and get the money you need at 47fastcash.com. 47fastcash.com.
I've been telling you all about the secret war on our cash and the free report you can receive a copy of by contacting Swiss America at 800-289-2646. I'd also like to encourage you to subscribe to their podcast on YouTube. Just search Swiss America Trading. The podcast can provide you a ton of vital information and financial news in the challenging and uncertain times we're in. Subscribe today. Learn more about BRICS, industry leaders, and their market predictions for the future, along with what you might expect to see in terms of precious metal performance in the weeks and months ahead. Message and data rates may apply.
It's 12:03 at KSL News Radio. I'm Isabella Sosa. KSL's top local story this hour. Big Cottonwood Canyon Road is temporarily closed. UDOT says the road is closed both uphill and downhill for backcountry rescue operations, so expect heavy delays. We'll be sure to update as we get more information. Lehigh police say a major drug bust this week shut down a suspected stash house in Lehigh. Detectives with the Utah County Major Crimes Task Force received an anonymous tip about a man in Eagle Mountain allegedly selling marijuana, THC concentrates, and psilocybin mushrooms across Utah and Salt Lake counties. After serving search warrants Wednesday on the suspect, his vehicle, and a Lehigh home, officers seized 74 pounds of THC wax, 25 pounds of marijuana, more than 3,000 THC edibles, vape cartridges, and over $12,000 in cash. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Over half of U.S. states are still reporting a lot of flu activity.
Federal health officials report 26 states are still seeing either very high or high numbers of flu-like illnesses. They estimate there have been at least 24 million illnesses and 20,000 deaths this season. That's up by 1 million illnesses over last week's estimate. As far as how the flu is affecting children, 5 pediatric flu deaths were reported this week, bringing the total to 71 this season.
That's ABC's Chuck Sievertson. Coming up, 40s today. KSL weather's next. KSL News Time, 12:04.
Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, today through Sunday. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, today through Sunday. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. 18-month interest-free financing. Our factories have demanded we sell 1,000 hot tubs and swim spas this weekend. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Huge factory incentives, factory rebates. This weekend only. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. We can remove your old hot tub. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Deep, deep discounts. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Just relax and enjoy. Today through Sunday. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Today, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Tomorrow, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Free admission, free parking, free delivery. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Call 833-SPA-SALE or visit hottubandSwimSpaSale.com.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. Earn 4.44% on savings at UCCU.com. Aside from what's going on at Big Cottonwood Canyon Road, the major highways on the Wasatch Front are looking good and traffic is flowing smoothly. Escape to Copper Rock in southern Utah. World-class golf meets breathtaking scenery, housing, and amenities. Come for the golf, stay for the adventure. Learn more at copperrock.com. Copper Rock, born to be played. Highs this weekend are in the 40s and 50s, and the lows are in the 20s with a 0% chance of rain or snow. Right now, it's sunny and 39 degrees. I'm Isabella Sosa, KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com. Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's Cougar Sports Saturday.
Touchdown! Stayed inside the boundary and gets in for 6.
Cougar Sports Saturday, a presentation of KSL Sports.
Ritchie right to the rim, driving score!
BYU Sports Talk by Cougar fans for Cougar fans. Here's your host, Mitch Harper, on Utah's legacy home of the Cougars. KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good afternoon, Cougar Nation. Welcome on into Cougar Sports Saturday, live on this BYU basketball game day. The Cougars are gearing up to take on the number 6 ranked Iowa State Cyclones tonight at the Marriott Center, 8:30 p.m. tip-off. You can listen to the game tonight right here on KSL News Radio. We're live here in downtown Salt Lake City at Broadcast House. Mitch Harper alongside with me over the next 3 hours, Nate Slack, producer here on Cougar Sports Saturday. So much to get to. We're going to have, of course, BYU basketball talk to get you ready for the Iowa State Cyclones tonight. BYU football. Hard to believe, but less than a week from now, BYU football will be kicking things off with spring practice. We'll get you ready for spring ball in a spring preview. We'll also be joined by Matt Baiamonte. Check in with him, and then we'll also hear from an Iowa State insider as well. Nate, this is a big game tonight for BYU, but earlier this week, the Cougars had a tough setback. It's honestly been, since we last were on the air a week ago, it's been a tough week for BYU basketball.
It has, and I was talking to some friends this week, and I think A.J. DeBance is the best player on this basketball team, but I think losing Richie Saunders is a bigger loss than I think even losing AJ would be, because we saw what BYU basketball could do last year with AJ taking, or with Richie taking over. But I think losing a guy like Richie Saunders, who's so solid on the defensive end, he's got that endless motor. He's been really clutch in some big games this year. He had the 33-point performance at Kansas, who we're watching right now, taking on Cincinnati, and Cincinnati's about to pull it by 6. No, it's still by 3, but I think the loss of Richie is really big. It comes at a really difficult time, too, with the season kind of winding down. BYU still needs that quality Quad 1A win, and I feel like it's just going to be even more difficult to get that without Richie on the floor.
Yeah, Richie Saunders in the first 47 seconds in last Saturday's game against Colorado goes down with an ACL injury, and you just knew the moment he went down and was not getting up quickly, you knew something was wrong. I was sitting on press row next to the Colorado beat writer who made the trip from Boulder, and he's just like, man, not Richie Saunders, because, again, I think he's earned so much respect in the Big 12, in college basketball, and to see Richie go down, it's just heartbreaking, because I believe, Nate, that Richie Saunders is a top 10 BYU basketball player of all time, and that might sound crazy, but the way that he elevated his game year after year and became a superstar, it's gut-wrenching. And I really believe, too, because of the coaching that he's been receiving since last year and the respect that NBA front offices have for Kevin Young, I think Richie Saunders could have snuck into the first round of the NBA draft, maybe the top end of the second. Look, it still could happen, and I hope that's the case. I'm not saying it won't, but I'd like to think, or I don't want to think, but I have this sneaking suspicion, rather, that an ACL injury that Richie suffered will probably drop his NBA draft outlook heading into June.
I think so, too. And it's unfortunate because I think he was trending towards that first-round pick. And when I saw him go down and he's holding his knee and he was on the court motionless basically for a good 20 seconds, you know it wasn't going to be a good sign. But I think there are some things BYU can do to maybe bridge the gap. I keep going back to a podcast that Jimmer Fredette was on a couple weeks ago where he was talking about his conversation with Dave Rose when Brandon Davies went out. and he was saying, "Hey, coach, I can get you those 18 points that Davies was putting out there, but you need to find me these rebounds." So I think they can maybe mask some things that Richie was providing for the team, but it's going to be a tough loss.
It is. And, Richie Saunders, I loved on his Instagram post where he said, "The next chapter begins the same way I've always lived, work with faith." He really embodied that. He was an outstanding BYU basketball player. I made the case on my Cougar Tracks podcast, hey, Richie, find an attorney and some legal expert to find some loophole and go sue the NCAA and get a 5th year. I'm not saying
it's the only way to do it, Mitch.
Like, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but, like, hey, find those options, because, again, look, 20 years ago, an ACL injury, death sentence for a basketball career. Now he can respond. Like, he could be back in, I don't want to speculate on a timeline, but I'd like to think he could be back for his rookie season in an NBA uniform. I think that he can come back, but it's just a bummer. And BYU experienced that on Wednesday night against Arizona. And mind you, BYU with Richie Saunders was struggling. They lost to Oklahoma State, a terrible team who hasn't won since. Oklahoma State has been awful since that upset win that they had with the Richie Saunders BYU team. The early returns from BYU, they lost on Wednesday night against an Arizona team that is really good, and they were shorthanded too. Koa Pete, their star freshman, he was out in that game. BYU falls by 7 in Tucson. They put up a fight. I thought BYU showed some resilience. They were battling throughout that game. Your initial impressions of a Richie Saunders-less BYU team after what you saw earlier this week in that 7-point setback at Arizona?
All things considered, I think it was really similar to what the team looked like before he was gone. And so I think that can be a positive just going forward, saying that, hey, we're still the same basketball team. But it was – so in that sense, yes, it was good. It was good that they didn't have a super slow start. They were not down by 20 points at halftime. The problem is I feel like outside of AJ and Rob Wright, there's no real threat at scoring the basketball. And when guys like Kostic get hot or Tyler Morales gets hot, they've been known to hit 4 or 5 3-pointers in a single game. But I think they had maybe two attempts on Wednesday night, I believe is what it was. They need to shoot the ball more. And so I think BYU may need to revert more to the 3-point ball. Arizona hit 9 of those on Wednesday night, which I think was their 4th highest all season. So I think BYU's in a position where, they can do some things differently. But overall, I was pleased with how BYU competed because they were never – I never felt like BYU was going to win that game, but I also didn't feel like BYU threw in the towel, which they could have done.
And they didn't get outclassed by one of the nation's best teams without one of their stars. This was Kevin Young on how BYU's handling life without Richie Saunders.
I mean, it sucks. There's no getting around it. Richie Saunders, I think, epitomizes everything that's good about college basketball. Hate that he's not out there with us. I texted him on the way to shoot around, just thinking about him and missing him. So, but this is a resilient group. I just told the guys, I've been doing this for, I don't know, I think this is my either 21st or 22nd year in coaching. I never had 4 guys get hurt for the season. So we're going through it, and that's part of going through. That's sports. That's life. You hit adversity, and so I'm proud of our guys. For their effort tonight and their effort in practice the last couple of days. We're trying to reinvent ourselves kind of on the fly. And I think there's a lot of good things that happened tonight. Super disappointed we weren't able to get the win, but we got a locker room that's not going to go away. I can tell you that right now, and that's going to be a dogfight every time you play BYU, and we're gonna keep pounding that rock, man, until it breaks, and it will break for us eventually.
At some point, that rock will break, and they got an opportunity to break the rock tonight against number 6 Iowa State. We'll get to that game a little bit more later in the program. But those 4 season-ending injuries, Richie Saunders, Nate Pickens, Dawson Baker, Brody Kozlowski, you don't want to make excuses at all because you still have a roster, top end of the roster, that has some special talent, but that factors into the conversation with this BYU team. They've never been at full strength. You don't want to make excuses. You got to get the job done and find a way to do it. And these guys are getting paid a nice sum of money. Not everyone's getting the same level like an AJ DeBonsa, but you don't want to make excuses, but it really does play a role into why BYU has maybe not been the team that they thought they would be. Because, again, Nate, I think what was frustrating a little bit from that Arizona game was the fact that I think many, myself included, thought that BYU in late February would be in a situation where Arizona's in, where they're chasing a number 1 seed, maybe a 2 or a 3 seed. That's the conversation I thought BYU was going to be in, and it's a little bit different when you're thinking 5, maybe it's the ceiling. It's a different conversation.
Yeah, especially today when they come out with the selection committee comes out with the top 16 teams and where they're at in the seed lines and what it would look like if the tournament were to start tomorrow. Now BYU's in a position where if they don't beat a top 10 Iowa State team today, they're going to fall outside of the top 25. And if you told me in November that BYU is not going to be a ranked team potentially at the start of March, I would have been shocked. Like I would not have believed that. But the fact is that I think we probably underplayed the impact that Dawson Baker injury had on this team, because Dawson Baker, without his presence last year, I don't know if BYU beats Wisconsin. He was fantastic down the stretch until he got tossed for that ridiculous technical foul they called, but he was awesome last year for BYU. He had the big 3-pointer against UConn early on in the season to keep BYU in striking distance.
And Kevin Young trusts him a lot.
Yes.
Like, he looked at him as like, okay, he can get a big bucket. I remember last year Kevin Young was saying Dawson Baker, games on the line, because that was a big question a season ago. Who's your guy in the clutch to go hit a game-winning bucket? He would bring up Dawson Baker's an option. I'm like, whoa, you look at Dawson in that way. So KY really trusts Dawson. Hopefully he can get a medical red shirt and come back. It'd be crazy, because he was a guy who was signing in high school in 2017, I think, 2018. But I'm all for it. I want to see Dawson back because I don't want that story to end for him. But those injuries definitely have played a role. You brought up the bracket. Let's discuss that, because bracketology is heating up as we're 3 weeks away until Selection Sunday. Let's see where BYU stands and look at what that top 16 in the bracket looks like, as the selection committee revealed that today. It's Cougar Sports Saturday. It's powered by KSL Sports.
Hi, I'm Utah tax attorney Jordan Wilcox. When the IRS invades your life, it's never good news. Keep in mind, it's not just you.
I owed roughly $34,000.
$61,000. When the IRS first contacted me, I was horrified.
When they start hounding you and harassing you and assaulting you.
Don't face the IRS alone. With everything in your life at stake, don't trust just anyone.
From what I got told was being done in a matter of 2 years, he had done in a matter of like 48 hours.
It's a great thing to have the IRS off your back.
We have reduced our tax liability by over $42,000.
Once I signed on with Jordan, I never talked to the IRS again.
It changed our lives.
You need someone to fight for you. Visit endtaxworry.com and get relief today. Let's solve your tax problems now. Visit endtaxworry.com. That's endtaxworry.com.
When Team USA is on, you can almost see the moment a kid starts believing they could be next. Now, while Xfinity can't guarantee that, they can guarantee something just as important, that your internet price won't change for 5 years. No contracts or commitments, so while your kid is ordering gear online, streaming highlight reels, or video chatting, your Xfinity internet price won't budge. And who knows, by the time the next Olympic Winter Games roll around, your kid could be getting fitted for their very own Team USA uniform. And guess what? You'll still be paying the same price for reliable Wi-Fi. And there's even more to enjoy with the Xfinity Gold Medal Celebration. Now through February 22nd, get their best price on gig Wi-Fi for 5 years guaranteed. Just $50 a month, plus get Peacock Premium included for 2 years. That's a $10.99 monthly value. Xfinity. Imagine that. Proud partner of Team USA. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Taxes and fees extra. Actual speeds vary.
Doug Wright here with Monty at Connecticut Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake, an authorized independent dealer. Monty, give it to me straight. Why is Connecticut the premium choice over those standard electric softeners?
Doug, it comes down to this. Do you want an appliance you have to babysit? Standard water softeners have microprocessors and computers that need setting and adjustment. And they use a lot more salt. So you get to haul 40-pound bags of salt down to your basement every month or so.
And Connecticut?
Zero electricity, zero timers to reset, zero downtime, and uses 70% less salt. It's a higher standard of engineering that completely removes the hassle of owning a water softener.
That's what I love about my Connecticut. Dee and I never have to even think about it. We occasionally add a bag of salt and it just works, and I've never had to set or adjust anything. Do what I did and get the one that just works. Find out how soft your water could be at softwaterutah.com. That's softwaterutah.com.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Couponing. Wow, you didn't strike me as the coupon type.
Just trying to stay ahead of inflation. Gas, groceries, everything. It's all more expensive. I need to save wherever I can.
Have you tried Upside yet?
Upside? What's that?
It's a free app that I use that pays cash back for every gallon of gas I buy. You've got to buy gas to get around anyway. Might as well get paid for it.
Come on, does that really add up to anything?
I've already made around $200. The extra cash helped pay down my bills, and I even had a little extra left to treat myself.
And the Upside app is free?
Totally free, and the cash back is real. You can transfer the cash right to your bank account.
I'm downloading Upside right now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code ENJOY to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code ENJOY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code ENJOY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Trying to make sense of the markets? Looking to diversify out of all the craziness? Thinking about tangible assets like precious metals? Listen to The Gold Show with Kenny Michaels right here on KSL at 3 p.m. Sunday afternoons. Stay up to date on retirement trends, how the IRA rollover process works, and why investors are turning to physical gold. Kenny is a national talk show host with decades of experience in the markets. Tune in for Kenny's Insights and The Gold Show this Sunday afternoon at 3.
KSL Broadcast Group contests are open to participants 18 years of age and older that are residents of Utah, unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest may not enter. Persons who have won in the last 30, 60, or 90 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available at kslnewsradio.com/contests.
Welcome back into Cougar Sports Saturday here on KSL News Radio. Mitch Harper and Nate Slack with you. We teased it in the previous segment. The NCAA Selection Committee did what they call a bracket preview, where they revealed their top 16 seeds in the NCAA tournament if the season was over and the bracket was revealed today. And I think this is interesting, Nate. One, because there's some BYU ties to this, and it highlights maybe some of the losses and the struggles for BYU as of late, but also, too, what could be the potential path for BYU. So the bracket top 16 seeds were revealed. 2 teams from the Big 12 are 1 seeds. Arizona in the West and Iowa State in the South. And BYU, of course, plays Iowa State tonight. So BYU has a chance to take down a team that the selection committee, as of today, views as a number 1 seed. So I think that kind of adds to how big this game is tonight for BYU.
Oh, it's massive. And they've had so many big opportunities like this. Very few are at home, but they did have the shot at Arizona at home. They're going to have a shot at Texas Tech later in the year. And now that one's not quite as intriguing as it was a week ago before the JT Toppin injury. So that's a bummer for Texas Tech right there. But it is a big opportunity for BYU. It's really the last chance I feel they have to really put a resume win on their resume, because they're lacking that right now. They have some good wins. They've took down Villanova in Las Vegas. They beat Clemson. Clemson's solid. They beat Wisconsin, and Wisconsin's been floating around the top 25 on and off. But they don't have that marquee top 10 win to hang their hat on and say, this is why we deserve to be a top 5 seed. Because right now, I think they're probably sitting in that 6 or 7 range, probably trending more towards a 6. But when you look at the bracketology stuff, Joe Lunardi, who's ESPN's biggest bracketologist, he came out and said earlier this week that he had BYU as a 6 seed, playing 10 seed Miami of Ohio. Now, you could
11 seed.
11 seed.
Yeah.
You could hear Miami, Ohio and think, oh, that's not a big deal. But they're undefeated.
Yeah.
They're the lone undefeated team left, and you don't want BYU to have a 6 seed and have a tough draw like that.
Well, it gives me flashbacks to Duquesne. Not that they were undefeated. I remember, though, going into that game, everyone said, oh, that's an easy matchup. Mid-majors are tricky. Like, anyone in the bracket's going to be good. If you were, that's why it was so important to get one of these potential top 16 seeds. And maybe if BYU somehow ran the table, Nate, maybe they get into that conversation to enter the 4-seed line potentially, but it's tough to make up ground when there's a bit of a gap there. But, I think that it's important to get one of those top seeds because you play the odds that you're going to face a more favorable matchup in the opening round. Right now, so here's the top 16 seeds, and I think I'll just focus on the 2 brackets that BYU could go to. They could go to the South or the West regions because those are Thursday, Saturday regionals. BYU, of course, can't play in the Friday, Sunday quadrants in the NCAA tournament. So the South region would be number 1 seed Iowa State, 2 seed UConn, 3 seed Nebraska, 4 seed Texas Tech. BYU's faced all of those teams. The West region, Arizona, Purdue, Gonzaga, Michigan State. The other 1 seeds in this tournament, according to the committee today, Michigan as the 1 overall seed, Duke in the East, and then the 2 seed in Midwest, Houston Cougars, and then 3 seed in the East is Kansas, who right now is tied 49-all with 11 minutes to go inside Allen Fieldhouse against Cincinnati, who's 14-12 overall. Winners of their last 3, but that would be a pretty shocking upset if Kansas lost that one. But I think what that highlights, though, 6 of BYU's 7 losses this season are against teams in the top 16 seeds of the selection committee's bracket. BYU, outside of the Oklahoma State game, is not losing to bad teams, Nate. And I think that this sometimes doom and gloom that Cougar fans are showing right now, it's like, I'm not saying that this is acceptable because, again, we thought BYU was going to be in this conversation that the committee revealed today, but still, like, you're right there. You're knocking on the door. You had a great post on X just highlighting the losses, and they've been right in the conversation. You just got to break through at some point. And that's why tonight is so big for BYU.
Yeah, that tweet I just talked about, the 7 losses, so 6 of them being to top 15 teams. And they were not by wide margins. You have a 2-point loss to number 3 UConn at the beginning of the year, a 13-point loss at Texas Tech, who was number 15, a 3-point loss to number 1 Arizona, 8-point loss to number 14 Kansas, 7-point loss on the road to Oklahoma State. They were a quad 1 game at the time, and now they've lost every game since. They've dropped down to a quad 2. 11-point loss to number 8 Houston, and a 7-point loss to number 4 Arizona. So it's not like BYU's getting smoked on the court. The problem is that they're starting out with such big deficits. They make a big run in the second half, and maybe they just make the score look closer than the game actually was.
It definitely feels that way. I think BYU, they got a huge opportunity tonight. Right now, the feel on BYU is 6 seed, as you said. I think the perfect path for BYU, they could somehow climb to a 5 seed. I know that 5-12 is always tricky, but get to Portland, get into that area where it's part in the West Coast, because I think a lot of teams in the Big 12 and the Power 4, they don't probably want to play out on the West Coast. That could help BYU from a geography perspective, get a lot of Cougar fans there. But tonight would be a seed line mover for BYU if they could get it done against Iowa State. Let's take a break. We'll talk more Cougar hoops around the corner with Matt Baiamonte next here on Cougar Sports Saturday.
At Trio South Ogden, the best years aren't behind you. They're right here. Discover independent living services that embrace aging as an opportunity to lean in, not step back, to pursue passions, not retire from purpose. Here, life is bright, colorful, and unapologetically fun. Because aging doesn't mean changing who you are. It means having more time to be exactly who you are. Schedule your tour today at trioSouthOgden.com.
Do you have an IRA or 401k? It's natural to think of this as being your money, right? But remember, you still have to pay taxes when you withdraw this money in retirement. And you could be paying a lot more in taxes on these accounts than you know. A lot more. Learn the strategies that can help you reduce or eliminate your taxes in retirement. Don't miss a special edition of Retirement Solutions Radio this Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock, right here on KSL News Radio 1027.
It's 12:31 at KSL News Radio. I'm Isabella Sosa. KSL's top story this hour. The Supreme Court has struck down the Trump administration's global tariffs. But for businesses that already paid them, there's still a big question mark. Will they ever get that money back? KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera spoke with one Utah business owner who says the damage has already been done.
Jared Hendricks runs Village Lighting Company, a West Valley, Utah business that depends on imported lighting from overseas. When tariffs spiked, some as high as 145%, he says the added cost hit after contracts and pricing were already locked in. He says keeping the business open meant risking it all.
First of all, I was emotional. I can't even tell you how horrible this experience has been for me and my wife and my family as we've put everything on the line just to stay in business. We didn't work for profits. We worked for tariffs.
While the court struck the tariffs down, Hendricks says he's still paying interest on the debt he took on. And when it comes to a refund, he's not counting on it. Eric Cabrera, KSL News Radio.
Our top national story this hour from ABC News. How will the Supreme Court's rejection of President Donald Trump's biggest tariffs unfold economically?
Although this was a huge political story and it will be a huge source of mess and uncertainty for business going ahead, the ultimate economic impacts may not be that big.
That was Archie Hall, U.S. economics editor at The Economist. Coming up, a cloudy weekend. KSL weather's next. KSL News Time, 12:32.
The United States is facing a mental health crisis, but there is hope. At Huntsman Mental Health Foundation, they're transforming how mental health is treated and researched, bringing compassion, innovation, and access to those who need it most. Your donation helps fund life-saving care and cutting-edge research that leads to better treatment for everyone. It's already making a difference. Huntsman Mental Health Foundation has built Utah's first ever mental health crisis care center, open 24/7 to anyone, regardless of ability to pay. They've also recently launched a youth crisis care program at Huntsman Mental Health Institute, giving kids and teens immediate support. And Huntsman Mental Health Foundation is expanding services like therapy, medication management, geriatric care, and treatment-resistant support. Join us. Be part of the change. Donate today at hmhf.org. That's hmhf.org.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by UCCU. Direct deposit gets you $300. Love where you bank. The eastbound lanes of traffic on I-80 near the Great Salt Lake State Park are closed for a crash. So if you're headed that way, I'd recommend finding a different route. Expect some clouds this weekend with highs in the 40s and 50s. Right now, it's fair and 39 degrees. I'm Isabella Sosa, KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com. Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's Cougar Sports Saturday.
Touchdown! Stayed inside the boundary and gets in for 6.
Cougar Sports Saturday, a presentation of KSL Sports.
Richie right to the rim, driving score!
BYU Sports Talk by Cougar fans for Cougar fans. Here's your host, Mitch Harper, on Utah's legacy home of the Cougars. KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Cougar Sports Saturday rolls on here on February 21st here at Broadcast House in Salt Lake City. If you miss any part of the program, you can subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcast. We're also live on the KSL News YouTube page. You can watch us on the stream. Got that rolling so you can watch it on video as well. BYU basketball in action tonight. You can listen to the call right here on KSL. Greg Wrubell will be on the call with Mark Durant. And in Greg Wrubell's team of broadcasters and a friend of the program here on the show is Matt Biamonte with BYU Broadcasting, the voice of BYU baseball these days. He's in California right now for the Tony Gwynn legacy. Matt, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. I'm on the San Diego trolley. I'm looking at the San Diego Temple right out the window right now. So weather's good. The sun is shining. It feels great.
Fantastic. And great calls for BYU baseball on BYU radio. They'll be in action tonight, 4 p.m. against UCSD. But I want to talk some Cougar hoops with you, Matt. This BYU basketball team, what were your takeaways from the first glimpse of a BYU team that doesn't have Richie Saunders against Arizona?
I thought they showed well against Arizona. Of course, AJ has just been legendary in conference play. The numbers that he's putting up are great. I think ultimately this team needs to find a way to get a few other guys involved, especially without Richie Saunders. You've got to replace those points, and I don't think you can ask or expect AJ or Rob to replace those 18 points a game. And where can those come from? There's a number of different places. Maybe get a few more touches to Keita. I thought that he had a nice second half against the Wildcats. I'd love to see Mihajlo Boskovic get a little more involved. And at the end of the day, Mitch, I wonder if you feel the same way. Rob Wright, as the point guard, I'd like to see him distribute a little bit more. We know he can score. We know he's dynamic with the ball. In those pick-and-roll situations, can he create for others? Can he find some other guys some shots? There's at times this year he's done that. You know, most notably, and maybe most recently, the home game against Arizona. In that second half, the ball was moving around. Lou Davis was hitting threes. Alexei Kostic was hitting some threes. That's what I think they need to bottle up and channel if they want to get a big win tonight against Iowa State.
I think it's a good point because, Rob Wright ends up with 3 assists against Arizona. I kind of miss when you bring that up, the, distributing the ball a little bit more. I'm kind of missing last year as far as the lobs to Keita. Get him involved. I think that's the way to get Keita involved, and it almost feels like the way that Rob Wright attacks the paint doesn't allow for that spacing for that to really highlight Keita's strengths, because we know that Keita, the offensive game just didn't evolve, and that's okay. Keita's got a unique style, but it'd be nice to see that a little bit more too.
Well, not only would it be nice, I think for players like Keita, they almost need a couple lobs a game just to keep the energy high. You're asking him to do an impossible job, which is rim run, up and down the floor, rebound when he's often undersized in the Big 12, and then set hard screens and do all the dirty things. Sometimes those guys, they just need a little bit of love. And I thought, to your point, Yegor Dillman did that great last year, where 2 or 3 times a game, Keita was getting a lob. And I know that Rob, he puts tremendous pressure on the rim. He's so good at getting behind his man and getting to the rim. But just 1, 2, 3 times a game, throw it up to Keita, keep him locked in, and maybe you can get a couple easy buckets that way as well. So I'm with you 100%. I think that's something that he can improve on. And look, they need other guys, Mitch. It can't just be Rob and AJ. That doesn't win in basketball today. We talk about the Big 2, the Big 3. You look at some of the best teams in college basketball. Do they have a Big 2? You look at Arizona's basketball team. They got 5 dudes. They're spreading the load across the team. Same with Iowa State. If you want to be a national championship caliber team, you have to have 4 to 6 dudes that you can rely on each and every night. And that's just not happening right now. But they've got to find a way to get there. There's still time, but they got to figure it out quick.
Matt, we were talking about the Arizona game to start out the show. Did you come out of that Arizona game feeling better about BYU going forward without Richie Saunders, or is it just kind of more of the same?
I don't feel better coming out of that game because Richie Saunders is one of the best BYU basketball players of all time. He's the heart and soul of the team. When Kevin Young tells us earlier in the week that numerous coaches have reached out to him about Richie, it's because Richie commands so much respect. You can't replace Richie. And Richie was one of the most consistent players on the team. Now, I'm not discouraged in the sense that AJ's playing great. Rob Wright's been playing great offensively, and that you still have Kevin Young, and you have a tremendous coaching staff that I think can find ways to win. They've got to change how they're going to play, and they don't have a lot of time, and that's the challenge. And I think the other part that's hard, too, is the Big 12 is just so dang hard. You look at that top 16 seeding projection that came out from the committee, and how many teams BYU has played in that top 16, it's just so hard, and they have such a tough road ahead, and that makes it hard to be experimental and gain traction because you're just constantly going uphill. So it's hard to feel encouraged. I wouldn't say I feel discouraged, but I didn't come away from that thinking, oh, yeah, like they've solved the problems and now they're going to regain kind of those preseason expectations. I think there's still a lot of work to do to get to that point.
Matt Baiamonte is our guest here on Cougar Sports Saturday. And Matt, BYU takes on Iowa State tonight. Another opportunity against one of those top 16 seeds by the committee. In fact, a number 1 seed, the Cyclones. Even though Iowa State's projected as a number 1 seed and BYU's going through it right now without Richie, I kind of feel a little bit optimistic about this matchup. Maybe it's a case of how KY had so much success against Iowa State and Otzelberger last year, and most of that Iowa State team is back. How do you feel about this matchup for BYU against the Cyclones, who have a nasty defense like in the mold of a Houston?
I'm like you. I'm optimistic. I think there's a great opportunity. BYU at home, they have been very competitive against some of these top teams in the Big 12. So, because they're in Provo and they're at the Marriott Center, that they're going to compete and they're going to have the energy lift that Cougar Nation always provides at the Marriott Center. The other reason I'm optimistic about this one, I just think defensively, BYU matches up very well. Whether it be AJ, Mihailo, they've got a lot of length on the perimeter, and I think they're going to make it difficult for guys like Momcilovic, who's, I think, one of the best shooters in college basketball. So defensively, they can do it. To me, it just comes down to what we talked about earlier, guys. AJ is going to do his thing. Rob Wright, I think, is going to be capable of scoring, but can he get others involved? And then can they make shots? I think so often you want to look at, Rob only had 3 assists or this, that, and the other. In reality, there's opportunities for guys to make shots. Yeah, I think of Moo Davis and how many opportunities he's had in conference play. He's just not shooting the ball anywhere near what he did at Southern Illinois last year. So there are opportunities for sure. You need those guys to make plays. And historically, you'd say they're more prone to make those shots and to make those plays at home. So there's certainly a chance. But to me, it just comes down to, can you get 2 other guys, whether it's Payday with 8 and 10, can Moo give you double figures? If you get that, and it doesn't have to be those 2, but if you get that type of contribution from some others, I think you've got a dang good shot to beat Iowa State.
Kind of more of a 1,000-foot view, I guess. Going forward for the rest of the season, Matt, what expectations do you have for BYU basketball? Does it kind of hinge on how they show up tonight, how they close out the regular season? Because I think going into the season, fans had really high expectations, and I think at this point of the year, it's probably a good time, if you haven't already, to adjust those expectations. But maybe what expectations do you have for the BYU basketball team the rest of the season?
Honestly, guys, I don't have any expectations. I'm just enjoying the ride with AJ. And I don't say that in a negative way. It's just, here's the reality. They have 4 season-ending injuries.
Yeah.
4. And several of those guys were supposed to be major contributors. Like, we never saw Nate Pickens, but he was brought in to be an off-the-bench 3-and-D. We never even saw it. Dawson Baker, I mean, how badly, how desperately does this team need Dawson Baker and his change of pace, offensive ability? They don't have it. And then you lose Richie. We never even got to see if Brody Kozlowski was ready to contribute. We barely saw Xavier Staten. It's just, this team, they don't even resemble what those preseason expectations were. And that's just the fact of the matter. And so I'm trying to enjoy the season the best that I can. It is a bummer that we never really got to enjoy this team at their peak, because I think we all thought if they were healthy and it came together that they could be a Final Four contender. But that's not the cards that Kevin Young and this team was dealt. It's just been a devastating year for injuries. That happens. And so with that being said and that understood, I'm just, anything can happen. When you're missing that much talent and that much experience, you could lose in the first round. We've seen it before with BYU. Now they've got the top end talent to make a run. And that's what's great about college basketball is when you have an AJ, if they get hot at the right time, you can go on a special run. We've seen it before. Notably, what comes to my mind is Kemba Walker in UConn many years ago when he got hot in the Big East tournament and they made a run. So that's certainly possible. But in terms of expectations, Nate, I just feel like there's too many injuries to have any expectations. You're asking for pain and heartbreak. And really, it's not, I don't think it's fair to say, hey, AJ and Rob and KY, can you do what you were supposed to do preseason when you're missing half the team? It's really unfortunate that so many players have had such devastating injuries because it has changed the ceiling for this team.
Last thing for you, Matt. Again, talk with Matt Baiamonte here on KSL News Radio as he continues to enjoy the 63-degree sunny weather while we're.
Doesn't that sound nice?
Yeah,
Mitch?
it'd be really nice. BYU football kicks off spring ball next week. They're not going to have the spring weather like you're enjoying in San Diego right now, but if you get the chance, if you're not on the mic for baseball in the near coming weeks. What are you wanting to see on those spring practice fields at the student athlete building in spring ball? What's kind of the big questions that you have going into spring ball?
There's a couple things I want to see. I will make it to spring ball. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, spring football. It's one of the great American pastimes. If you don't like spring football, then I don't know what's wrong with you.
Well said.
It's so there's so many great storylines. I think the most important storyline thing I want to see is I want to see improvement from Bear. Like, I think it's easy to forget Bear wasn't here for spring football last year. Like, he had such a phenomenal freshman season. He did not have the ability or the opportunity to develop rapport with the offense in spring. And Mitch, when you and I were together on Cougar Sports Saturday and we covered many a spring ball together, spring ball was a moment where you really had a chance to look at some dudes and say, hey, is he taking a jump since the end of last season? Mm-hmm. Notably, I thought Jaron Hall, if you remember, when we had his spring ball, when he was projected to be the starting quarterback, he looked incredible that spring football. So I'm not necessarily expecting Bear to take that kind of jump and to be pro ready in his sophomore year, but I do want to see how he's improved from last year. He's healthy now, and how is the ball coming out of his hand? What's his command of the offense? All of those things should be improved for Bear. And then I think the biggest question mark for me is that wide receiver room. There's just not a lot of returning production. And so is some of the young dudes going to take a step? Like Tay Nakua, I think this is his time to break into the 2 deep. Is Cody Hagan going to make a jump and kind of become that dude that we thought he could be coming out of Corner Canyon? So that there's a lot of question marks there. You got a really loaded offensive line. I really like the depth of tight end and the top end talent. You bring in Walker Lyons. It's going to be fun to see him kind of run around, but I'm not worried at all about running back. I'm not worried about offensive line or tight end. It's simply, can you get some dudes in the wide receiver room to step up and be ready to take the mantle as a starting caliber player? JoJo is a good example of this, Mitch. Like JoJo, he's been here for a minute now. Can he take that leap and maybe take the spot as top wide receiver? Now there's an opening there. So that wide receiver room to me is kind of where it all hinges in terms of what I want to see and the biggest question mark in spring ball.
He's Matt Baiamonte. You can check out his work with BYU Broadcasting. He'll be on the mic today, 4 p.m. first pitch. BYU versus UCSD, UC San Diego at the Tony Gwynn Legacy on BYU Radio. Matt, thanks for the time. Have a good call today, and we'll talk again down the road.
Sounds great. Have a good one, you guys. Thank you.
It's Matt Baiamonte here on Cougar Sports Saturday. We're taking a break. Let's talk some football around the corner. And also, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints had a statement on recent derogatory chants at Big 12 venues. We'll talk about that as well here on Cougar Sports Saturday.
Gold demand is skyrocketing to record highs. As more Americans rush to preserve their savings, will there be enough gold? I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and I believe physical gold is the only way to truly protect your 401k or IRA savings. Gold offers tangible security that can't be tracked, stolen, or inflated. That's why I strongly advocate for gold IRAs. To learn more, text the word SECURE to 989898 now. Birch Gold Group will send you a free info kit on gold IRAs. Birch Gold is the only gold company I trust, and their thousands of great reviews prove I'm not alone. So don't wait another second. Protect your retirement savings today and see how easy it is to move your IRA or 401k into physical precious metals. Text SECURE to the number 989898 for your free Gold IRA info kit. Again, SECURE to 989898.
Message and data rates may apply.
Amanda, every business needs IT help. And sometimes you've got that guy who already works for your company who knows how to do this stuff, but sometimes you don't. Or the guy who knows the IT stuff, that's not his actual job.
Right. So Les Olson IT they can be your 24/7 help desk. They can support your existing help desk. They can do advanced cybersecurity protection. Maybe just come and take a look. Are you subject to phishing or ransomware or other things? What are the cyber threats you're facing?
And you've got to make sure that your data is secure. So both cloud and data backup solutions, they can help you with that. Plus, everybody's got to use a computer. That's where hardware comes in, infrastructure support. You don't have to know all this stuff because Les Olson IT knows it.
And most of the time, they can help you fix whatever's going wrong remotely, just off your computer. Plus, of course, they have copiers and printers. They always will at the very best price.
Les Olson IT is your trusted local IT partner. They've been in business for 70 years, and they've got 9 locations from Logan to Las Vegas.
Find out more at lesolson.com.
This is the story of the one. As the purchasing manager at a manufacturing plant, she knows the only thing more important than having the right safety gear is having it there when you need it. That's why she partners with Grainger for auto reordering, so her team members can count on her to have cut-resistant gloves on hand, and each shift can run safely and efficiently. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Are you 50 or older? This news is for you. The CDC recommends you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at risk. People 50 or older are over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia compared to adults 18 to 49. Just one shot can help protect you. Learn more and schedule at vaxassist.com. That's VAXassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Comcast Business helps turn today's small businesses into engines of modern business. It's how restaurants become reliably up and running neighborhood favorites. How retailers become seamlessly restocking, cyber-securing, must-visit shops. And how healthcare offices become the data managing caregivers that we all depend on. With reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, advanced fiber solutions, and Wi-Fi backup, Comcast Business is powering the engine of modern business. Powering possibilities.
Now through March 22nd, switch to Comcast Business and get started with 150 megabit internet plus Security Edge for $59.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement. Or ask how to lock in your rate for 5 years on a qualifying internet bundle and get a $500 prepaid card when you add 2 lines of mobile. For a limited time only. Call today. Restrictions apply. New customers only. Requires paperless billing and automatic payments with bank account. Equipment, taxes, and other fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply.
Hi, I'm Jay Broadbent from Alpine Home Medical, and I'm humbled to win Utah's Best of State for 2025 for the 15th year in a row. After 28 years, we're all about you. Over 1,700 5-star Google reviews and a 4.8 customer satisfaction score to prove it. We'll keep working hard for you. I've spent this year advocating with lawmakers for better Medicare reimbursement, ensuring you always have the best access to medical supplies you need. From Idaho Falls to St. George, our 11 stores are your home for comfort. When you hear Alpine Home Medical, think of that best of state experience every single time. Visit us online at alpinehomemedical.com. That's alpinehomemedical.com.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
Welcome back into Cougar Sports Saturday. Mitch Harper and Nate Slack with you. My goodness, the Big 12 always delivers. Cincinnati is about to go into Allen Fieldhouse and pull a shocking upset. Cincinnati is up 76-60 with 2:17 to go. The Bearcats are on a 15-2 run over the last 4 minutes of action against the Jayhawks. Darren Peterson, who's been under scrutiny this week for his, what would you call it, Nate? basically asking to be checked out of the game against Oklahoma State.
It has been the weirdest thing. Have you ever seen anything like that? You see a player go off for 18 points super fast, and then he turns to the coach immediately, taps his chest like he wants to come out.
I didn't understand it in Lawrence when Peterson was just on an absolute heater against BYU. And then in the second half, it's like, he's just on the bench. He's not playing. Wait, he's now in the tunnel. He's not coming back. I am so glad we were just talking in the break. And Darren Peterson, by the way, he's been playing today, 17 points in 32 minutes for Kansas, 7 of 17 from the field. I'm so glad that AJ has not been the headaches that Darren Peterson has been at times for Kansas. Now, Darren Peterson's talent is undeniable. The spurts that he does play, he's awesome. Today, not as efficient, 1 of 7 from 3 for Darren Peterson. But I love that AJ, you don't question it. Like, he's going to play, and he's probably going to get 30. Like, that's just what it is. Like, he's going to get to the Big 12 logo, and he's going to knock that shot down at least 5 times in the game. He's going to get to the foul line. Like, you know what you're getting every single night from AJ. And whatever happens this season with BYU, I think Cougar fans come out of this season no matter what and say, I loved watching AJ DeBonson. He's a Cougar for life.
Yep, absolutely. And it's one of those things fans should really enjoy these last 2-3 home games. Take your families, go see AJ DeBonson because he's probably going to be a guy who's going to be possibly the face of the NBA over the next decade or so.
Oh yeah, I mean, will AJ be the best player? Like, is he going to be an SGA, be an MVP? Maybe, but at a minimum, he's probably going to be a guy that every single February we're going to be seeing him in an All-Star game.
Look what Yegor's doing.
Oh,
Yegor Dioman's killing it right now, and AJ's outperforming what Yegor was doing at BYU last season.
That was what was kind of not jarring to me, but I just thought about it last Sunday night watching the NBA All-Star game, which I thought was a better, improved format. The NBA All-Star game and seeing it back on NBC was awesome. I just thought to myself, this is going to be probably one of the last All-Star games where we don't see a BYU guy in the All-Star game. Yeah. Because, again, covering BYU like we do, we don't live in a space where the NBA is common talk conversation for BYU fans. Like, it's its own little world of talking Cougar hoops, but really more and more as the years go by, the NBA factory that BYU is going to be, it's a real thing, and it's not slowing down with the way that Kevin Young is recruiting. And when you're in the conversation to get a guy like Bruce Branch, who when you look at mock drafts for 2027, he could be a top 3 pick. Like, this isn't slowing down, and when young high school players see AJ, what he's done this year, you go, yeah, I want to be a part of that. Now, I think that's what's exciting about BYU basketball. Regardless of what happens this year, Kevin Young is going to continue to learn and evolve and take notes and get better from whatever happens. Again, there's still a lot of basketball left to be played. Like, look, we're seeing Cincinnati put the hammer down on Kansas. They're up by almost 20 in Allen Fieldhouse. So if Cincy can go to Kansas, why can't BYU beat an Iowa State? Why can't BYU, with a shorthanded team, go get to the Sweet 16? I think it can happen. So a lot of basketball left to be played.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think we got to remember that Kevin Young is still kind of adjusting to the college game. It's a lot different than the NBA. You look at even just the timeout usage. BYU has opponents go on a lot of runs, and it's like, why is KY not calling a timeout? He started to do that more recently. Looking back at last year's personnel, we've talked about some comparisons from this year's team to last year's team. I think last year's team really benefited from being able to bring guys like Dallin Hall and Fus Traore off the bench. They didn't have that this year. So I think that's something that KY is going to be able to recognize and change for next season.
Let's get out, take a break. We'll get to hour number 2 where we'll start to talk some BYU football. Spring ball kicks off next week. Let's preview it right here on Cougar Sports Saturday.
From ABC News, I'm Chuck Severson. Yesterday, he announced a 10% global tariff rate under a different law than the one that led to the Supreme Court invalidating most of President Trump's tariffs. Today, he announces he's raising that to 15%. Thousands of companies are suing the Trump administration, demanding refunds for tariffs. KPMG Chief Economist Diane Swank.
Our Trade and Customs Practice is already working on many businesses that are trying to submit refunds early. The problem is the procedures have not been set up yet, and that is going to be very difficult. Even the Supreme Court in their briefing used the word, this will be a mess.
Police officers searching the home of the former British Prince Andrew for a third day over his connection with Jeffrey Epstein. Police say they're working with U.S. law enforcers to find out if any U.K. airports were used to traffic young women for sex. Andrew's stripped of his title, but could he also be removed from the line of succession to the throne? ABC News royal contributor Victoria Murphy.
In order to remove him, it requires an act of parliament. And unlike removing his titles, that cannot be bypassed because it also needs the consent of the 14 countries outside of the UK who also have King Charles as their head of state, because it changes their line of succession as well.
Another big snowstorm looks to be aiming at tens of millions of people tomorrow and could drop up to a foot or more from the southeast to the northeast, including along the I-95 corridor. On New York's Long Island, Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman calls the storm profound.
The snow is expected to begin approximately 9 a.m. tomorrow, with the heaviest snowfall in the late afternoon. Blizzard conditions will exist from tomorrow afternoon into Monday morning.
U.S. measles cases have surged to nearly 1,000, say federal health officials. You're listening to ABC News.
Offer not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Honey, our credit card bill came and it's higher than last month.
How? We haven't charged anything.
Paying the minimum isn't enough. It will keep getting higher until we take control. We need to go to 47fastcash.com.
With our bad credit?
47fastcash.com can help any credit type get approved for up to $5,000 in minutes.
Take control and get the money you need at 47fastcash.com. 47fastcash.com.
I've been telling you all about the secret war on our cash and the free report you can receive a copy of by contacting Swiss America at 800-289-2646. I'd also like to encourage you to subscribe to their podcast on YouTube. Just search Swiss America Trading. The podcast can provide you a ton of vital information and financial news in the challenging and uncertain times we're in. Subscribe today. Learn more about BRICS, industry leaders, and their market predictions for the future, along with what you might expect to see in terms of precious metal performance in the weeks and months ahead. Message and data rates may apply.
Good afternoon. It's 1:03 at KSL News Radio. I'm Isabella Sosa. KSL's top local story this hour. There are a couple road closures happening right now. In Tooele, there was a 3-vehicle crash eastbound on I-80 near the Great Saltaire. One person has life-threatening injuries, and eastbound traffic is closed. In Brighton, Big Cottonwood Canyon Road is temporarily closed. UDOT says the road is closed both uphill and downhill for backcountry rescue operations, so expect heavy delays. We'll be sure to update as we get more information. There are 15 new measles cases in Utah. KSL TV's Aaron Cox spoke with a state epidemiologist.
There's a few things these cases have in common. The epidemiologist I spoke with says most people are not vaccinated, and they're catching these cases at team events across the state. In her decade of working at the Utah Department of Health and Human Services, Amelia Salmonson has never seen a measles outbreak, and now there are around 300 cases across the state.
We've just had a really steady case count and people getting infected with measles and getting reported since June.
Cases were reported from the Stansbury Park High School in Tooele, 2 schools in Salt Lake County, medical centers in Murray, 2 in St. George, and the Wrestling State Championships in Orem.
Utah ranks 3rd highest number of measles cases in the nation. Coming up, no snow this weekend. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 104.
This weekly tax tip is brought to you by the Utah Association of Certified Public Accountants. Here's CEO Susan Spears.
If you're 65 years or older, there's a new tax break heading your way for the 2026 filing season. It's called the Senior Bonus Deduction. Seniors will get an extra $6,000 deduction on top of the standard deduction. If you're married and you're both 65 plus, that's a $12,000 bonus off your taxable income. So let's do the math. A single senior gets to take the standard deduction of $15,750, the existing age bump of $2,000, and the new senior bonus of $6,000. That's almost $24,000 of income the IRS cannot touch. However, there are income phase-outs.
Get the most out of your income tax preparation when you hire a licensed CPA. Visit uacpa.org to find a CPA that's right for you. And check out new tax tip videos by following on social media at Talk to Your CPA.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. Up to $500 for loan transfers. Love where you bank. The eastbound lanes of I-80 near the Great Solitaire are still closed, as well as Big Cottonwood Canyon Road. Highs this weekend are in the 40s and 50s with a 0% chance of rain or snow. Right now it's fair and 41 degrees. I'm Isabella Sosa, KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's Cougar Sports Saturday.
Touchdown! Stayed inside the boundary and gets in for 6.
Cougar Sports Saturday, a presentation of KSL Sports.
Richie right to the rim, driving score!
BYU Sports Talk by Cougar fans for Cougar fans. Here's your host, Mitch Harper, on Utah's legacy home of the Cougars. KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Hour number 2 is off and running here on Cougar Sports Saturday. Mitch Harper and Nate Slack with you. We'll talk some BYU football coming up. Spring ball kicks off next Friday down in Provo. So we'll hit on that coming up around the corner. But I did want to hit this story, Nate. It's kind of interesting. Obviously, BYU has been on the receiving end of derogatory chants a handful of times the past couple seasons since joining the Big 12 Conference. There were chants at Colorado earlier this year, Cincinnati with football, and then most recently, Oklahoma State with chants of, I believe, the Mormons. There was also at Oklahoma State, refs a Mormon chant. Anyway, I bring all this up again because The Athletic, they put together a piece that was written by Justin Williams and Chris Kamrani, where they got a statement from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints sharing their thoughts on the Big 12's actions in response to these derogatory chants that are taking place in conference venues towards BYU. And a spokesperson from the church told The Athletic the following, quote, "While not representative of the broader community, we expect better from those who do engage in these derogatory chants at various sporting events. Such chants are offensive, discriminatory, and unacceptable. We commend the Big 12 Conference's commitment to a unifying remedy. It is time to move beyond the cycle of recurring apologies without improvement. We reaffirm our love of neighbor and pray for greater kindness and compassion among all," end quote. Again, that's from a spokesperson from the church. It was interesting to read that because in past instances of these situations, there hasn't been a statement from the church. So maybe your thoughts on, Nate, on the response from the Big 12 of these $50,000 fines and then that commentary from the church as well.
Yeah, I like the commentary, and I kind of view it from a different perspective because in my full-time job, I do some public relations stuff. And so I like the statement. I'm glad that the church is coming out to say something because I think turning your cheek and just kind of letting people say whatever they want, that's got negative effects because I've got a young son, and if I was, I was at the Colorado football game this year with him, and luckily he's young enough, he didn't know what was going on, but I don't want to have to field questions of him asking why they're saying that and what it means and if there's anything else that comes with it. I think that the Big 12's $50,000 fine is a good step in the right direction, but I don't think it's enough. I think back to the, Texas Tech has their traditions of throwing tortillas up at football games, and there's an immediate effect where if they are throwing tortillas, there's a 15-yard penalty in the football game. So it has an actual impact on the game. And I think if they were to do something similar where they can have some, if it's a basketball game and they can have a just administrative technical foul called and BYU gets a couple free throws in the ball, maybe that can change things. But I don't know if the $50,000 fine alone is enough to change much.
Yeah, I think that I'll be curious to see, and I bring this up as well because earlier this week, Arizona coach Tommy Lloyd, he sent an email to the Zona Zoo, basically just paraphrasing, but, don't have any chance or anything. And it wasn't solely based on BYU, even though Arizona last year did have that issue in the McHale Center. There was some alleged video of behavior from an Arizona fan after a game where they had a big win in Tucson, or after a loss against Texas Tech, there was some behavior caught on social media video. I just think that they're probably the biggest impact. I think you make a good point about either on the field or on the court, because really $50,000 hitting the administration of a school, do the students really care? Is some frat bro or fraternity or sorority going to be less inclined to then have those chants? Maybe there needs to be just a reminder before the games. Hey, just keep it classy. And that should go for every game. Now, I know even at BYU games, the PA, a public address announcer for football and basketball, will have a statement that says no chants that are racial, derogatory, or accepted. The Big 12 Conference, wants to adhere to sportsmanship policy. So that little disclosure in a way is known to every venue in the Big 12 Conference, but maybe something along the same lines of what Texas Tech did before the football game, where Grant McCasland, the basketball coach, got on the mic and was like, hey, make it about us. Even during that game, when there was some possible hostile chant, which is crazy to think considering Texas Tech just hammered BYU in Lubbock in football, there was some chant, or there was some message on the screen that said, keep the chants about our team. Focus on us. Keep the focus on us. Something along those lines. I thought that was kind of interesting how Texas Tech really kind of went above and beyond to say, just be done with that. Now, maybe also, too, if you're these venues, if these chants happen, have the band silence the chants. But hopefully it's just people they realize, hey, let's keep a group of people and their faith and their beliefs just off limits. I've always been of the belief where, hey, if you want to have some chants, just make it about the on-court product or make it about the team itself. I just feel like it kind of shows maybe a little bit of lack of intelligence to just resort to a personal attack, whether it's beliefs, what someone looks like. I just think that just looks poorly on you, the individual, and then at a bigger picture, the school at large, when you're, making someone feel inferior because of the way that they look or something that they believe. And that just should never be allowed. And hopefully this is a moment and a big conversation point where, a quarter of the league has had this happen, and BYU's only in year 3 of the conference.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. It's a lazy way to try to get in the head of the opponent. There's so many other creative things you can do.
For sure.
All these players have social media. It would be easy to find out who their girlfriend is.
Well, I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
I'm just saying.
I wouldn't go that far.
I think that resorting to religious things is unfortunate. No other religious school has to deal with that. You don't have SMU or Baylor or Notre Dame getting these kinds of insults rolled at them. But it has become pretty common with BYU.
You almost wonder why that's the case. And I know we're on the kind of like the front lines when it comes to BYU. We see and cover this program every single day and always talk BYU. So we live it. So we're always seeing BYU in our lives. But it is strange how even the whole, if it was in fact at Oklahoma State, the chant was refs a Mormon. Insert any other religion or group of people and say refs a blank. What are you doing? Why is that? Hey, it wasn't bleep the Mormons. It was refs a Mormon. What, again, is that acceptable? You're making your big attacking chant is to say yeah, that ref's this member of a religion. If you really want to go next level, why don't you say the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints? Because we're not even called Mormons anymore. Anyway.
It's just such a polarizing issue. You have the TV show Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, and it's just such a fascinating topic for people. I think that's probably why, but it's exhausting.
I like that Kevin Young, after that Oklahoma State game, did go to the mic to express his frustration about it, because he's like, I'm tired of it. He's a God-fearing man, as he said. It's like, I'm tired of hearing it. And, I think back to in Arlington in December, before the Big 12 championship game, Big 12 Commissioner Brett Yormark spoke to the media and fielded some questions about league matters, kind of a state of the league address in a way. And he fielded a question from a local reporter about the chance of, the derogatory chants towards the LDS Church. And he was very like this will be fixed and this will be corrected. So I'm really curious to see what does change. Typically, in the kind of the off-season calendar, you've got these meetings where coaches will all come together. I'll be curious to see if that's a big talking point where it's like, hey, this needs to be addressed. No more. Stop this or else this is going to happen, because a lot of coaches complained about the tortilla thing that you brought up at Texas Tech, where they were throwing tortillas, they were landing on the field, and that became a big issue, which to me, that's a tradition. I don't know why they banned that.
And it's a tortilla.
I think that's college football. That's crazy that they banned that, but derogatory chants have no place. And the thing is like, even if it was another religion, like I don't want to hear Baylor fans getting chewed out because of their faith, if the Baptists or whatnot. It's like, don't make people feel less because of what they believe. And every sporting event, yes, you want to have a little bit of a hostile crowd to the road team, but don't make it personal attacks. I think that's something that could be addressed going forward. But I thought it was interesting to hear a spokesperson from the church weigh in on this to The Athletic, and we'll see what the Big 12 does going forward, if it just stays with the $50,000 fine or if there's more matters taken into this if these sort of things happen again. Hopefully it's never a story again, and this doesn't become a reoccurring deal in regards to these derogatory chants. Let's take a break. We teased it for a couple times now. BYU football talk around the corner as spring ball kicks off next week. We'll talk about it next here on Cougar Sports Saturday.
Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa this weekend only, today through Sunday. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa this weekend only, today through Sunday. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. 18-month interest-free financing. Our factories have demanded we sell 1,000 hot tubs and swim spas this weekend. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Huge factory incentives, factory rebates this weekend only. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. We can remove your old hot tub. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Deep discounts. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Just relax and enjoy. Today through Sunday. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Today, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Tomorrow, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Free admission, free parking, free delivery. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Call 833-SPA-SALE or visit hottubandSwimSpaSale.com.
Progressive Insurance knows pets, and one of the biggest differences between people and pets is that we don't eat things off the floor. But dogs definitely will, and it makes them so happy, no matter what it looks like, smells like, or what state of decomposition it's in. We all want to go through life that carefree, and that's also why you should get Progressive Pet Insurance, because they eat things off the floor. So protect your pet from all the questionable life decisions they make. You know where they drink from when you're gone, right? Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Covered subject to policy terms and conditions.
Why'd I go to the doctor? Working on the farm, my heart kept skipping a beat. I didn't think much of it, but my daughters made me get checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
I'm here with Monty from Connecticut Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake, an authorized independent dealer. So, Monty, I wonder if you know someone like this. He's the ultimate DIY guy. Restores classic cars, builds his own deck, and even smokes his own brisket.
Sounds like a talented guy.
He is. But get this, his other weekend hobby is troubleshooting his water softener. He's always down there resetting the timer or fiddling with the circuit board.
See, Doug, that's where I draw the line. Smoking a brisket is a great weekend project.
Yeah.
Fixing an electric water softener is just a chore.
Exactly. He thinks he's saved money by buying the bargain brand, but he's paying for it with his Saturdays.
That's the Connecticut difference. Our systems are premium because they are non-electric and fully automated. No computers to fry, no timers to reset. We install it and you get back to the hobbies you actually enjoy.
If you want soft water, do what I did and leave that to Connecticut. It runs on water power, not willpower. Learn more at softwaterutah.com. That's softwaterutah.com.
This month, Pure Talk is honoring Jackson and Lincoln by offering unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data for just $25 a month. Meanwhile, Big Wireless is honoring Benjamin Franklin by charging families hundreds of dollars for the same 5G service. What's up with that? Ben Franklin wasn't even a president. When you switch to Pure Talk, you'll be in business with an American wireless company that supports our vets in a big way and keeps all their customer service in this country. That's important. And you'll be on the same towers the big carriers use, so you'll get the same 5G service without the inflated price. So hang on to your Benjamins and switch to Pure Talk for a Jackson and a Lincoln. No contract, no hidden fees. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and you'll get 50% off your first month when you switch. That's pound 250, Mike Rowe, for an American wireless company that is truly unprecedented. Pure Talk.
When Team USA is on, you can almost see the moment a kid starts believing they could be next. Now, while Xfinity can't guarantee that, they can guarantee something just as important, that your internet price won't change for 5 years. No contracts or commitments, so while your kid is ordering gear online, streaming highlight reels, or video chatting, your Xfinity internet price won't budge. And who knows, by the time the next Olympic Winter Games roll around, your kid could be getting fitted for their very own Team USA uniform. And guess what? You'll still be paying the same price for reliable Wi-Fi. And there's even more to enjoy with the Xfinity Gold Medal Celebration. Now through February 22nd, get their best price on gig Wi-Fi for 5 years guaranteed. Just $50 a month, plus get Peacock Premium included for 2 years. That's a $10.99 monthly value. Xfinity. Imagine that. Proud partner of Team USA. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Taxes and fees extra. Actual speeds vary.
Welcome back into Cougar Sports Saturday here on KSL News Radio. Next Friday, BYU football kicks off the 2026 season. Spring ball kicks off. Can you believe it, Nate? Football's back.
I cannot believe it, Mitch, and I'm ready for it.
Me too. BYU released its spring football roster, which, of course, did not include BYU wide receiver Parker Kingston. He's been expelled and dismissed from Brigham Young University as he faces allegations and charges of first-degree rape, and he had bail and ankle monitor now. So he's no longer part of the program, and that was obviously double confirmed, if you will, with him not being on the roster. But big picture with spring ball kicking off next Friday, Nate. We'll talk about this over the next hour, but just some storylines, some kind of angles that you're really intrigued by heading into one of the most anticipated seasons really in the last 25 years for BYU football.
Yeah, I think the thing that's most intriguing to me is something that Matt hit on, is just the wide receiver room, because I feel really good about quarterback, because I think Bear's primed to have a really big year this year. I'm excited to see what kind of jump he can make. The running back room I feel pretty good about with LJ returning. Sione Moa, I think, is on the up and up in terms of his health. And I think that we saw enough out of Jovesa DeMooney. I think he's probably going to be RB3.
You think so?
I think so. I think he has more to give than Preston Rex. Preston Rex had some moments, but I think Jovesa DeMooney had a better sample size that at least convinced me he deserves RB3.
To follow up on that, I mean, the nice thing about RB and spring ball, we're going to learn about those guys because LJ, like even if LJ was healthy, you just say, you know what? Hey, get ready for the battles in the fall, man. Like you're coming back from the shoulder. Even if he was healthy, though, you just say, hey, just rest. We know what you can do. You're an all-timer. Get ready for the battles in the fall. So this is going to be fun in spring to see who the other guys are. I'm really intrigued by a guy like Logan Payne, too. I've kind of sung his praises quite a bit for months on Cougar tracks. I'm curious to see what he can be. But, I was of the belief that BYU should have added someone in the portal just to almost maybe overpay and go get someone and say, hey, pair up with LJ, because it's pretty common you see in college football where you got two quality running backs. And look, BYU could have that. Someone could emerge. I just don't want to see BYU get into a spot with this football team where if LJ does leave, say like he did it against Iowa State, where it all has to be on the arm of Bear. I want to see someone emerge as that RB2 where you feel like, okay, you go from a guy that can give you 25 to 30 carries. Okay, he maybe goes out. You can still get, 15 to 20 with RB2 and still be okay. No one's going to ever replicate LJ Martin because, again, he's an all-timer. But that's where my kind of little bit of worry, because we saw glimpses in the Iowa State game and the Pop-Tarts Bowl where it was rely on the arm of Bear, and that was great. They won those games, and Bear had brilliant passing performances where BYU was very one-dimensional, but it felt like they ditched the ground attack because LJ went out, and I hope BYU can really round out its depth in spring ball at that running back position.
Yeah, and I think they need to, because LJ and Sione, for better or for worse, they both have a history of injuries. And so
no question.
It's not out of the realm of possibility to assume that at least one of them is going to miss a game or two this coming football season. But I feel really good about that position because of those two guys, and also because of the offensive line and the retooling and some of their portal additions that they got. But I think I'm most excited for the defensive side of the ball, and I think that's because there's so many questions. Just what is Kelly Papinga's defense going to look like? What about the secondary with Gennaro Guilford taking off to Michigan? I think it's also interesting with a three-man front. Like, who's going to be the starting defensive tackle? You probably imagine it's going to be Keanu Tonavasa, but you also return Anisi Purcell. You have Justin Kirkland, who redshirted last year. I'm excited to see what do they do with a guy like Nusi Tamoipeau. Does he come off the edge? Does he play more of the linebacker? Because if they're going to have three down line, you imagine they have, four linebackers, maybe three. But I think there's a lot of personnel I'm excited to see on the defensive side of the ball.
Nusi's got a bright future ahead. We did see with him that he announced that he had a successful surgery that kind of got buried in the weeds with all the Parker Kingston news a week ago. And that'll be the thing, too. There's some key guys that you're going to count on in the fall that, hey, just get healed up, man. Just take care of you, get healed up, and let this be, those young developmental guys really make a name for themselves. And it is a thing, because I think when, fans look at spring ball, and it's maybe sometimes tough for fans to get super excited for spring ball because they don't get to see the practices anymore. And I get that. We'll do everything we can as long as we get the chance to go see practices. We'll be there and report as much as we can from spring ball. But I think that there really is some real big benefits. I've seen it the past few years where you see these deep, buried in the weeds, depth chart guys, and they just give you some moments in spring ball. And I think these coaches look at those moments and say, okay, this could translate if called upon in a game. I think back to last spring where Jovesa DeMooney, he had a practice inside the indoor practice facility where he was getting all these carries and he was doing a nice job. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, like Jovesa's got some motion. He's got some juice to him. Got a little bit of wiggle here. And then you get to that fast forward to the West Virginia game. He has the fumble, but still there was a little bit of belief in him, and he gets his opportunity in the Pop-Tarts Bowl, and he hits, and he helps BYU win that Pop-Tarts Bowl without LJ Martin. So spring ball is still valuable, and I think now even more than ever before because there's no second portal window, and you got to keep these guys healthy because you don't have the benefit of the doubt or say, you know what, okay, this guy, this position group, very weak. Let's go into the portal and retool. You don't have that luxury now. So you got to keep guys healthy, and hopefully guys progress and take a step forward to really round out the depth for a season that's going to be highly anticipated for Cougar football. Let's talk more BYU football around the corner here on Cougar Sports Saturday.
Hi, this is Derek Overstreet, president of the New Millennium Group and co-host of Stop Working, Start Living with KSL News Radio. Can you imagine what your life would be like if you could retire 3 to 5 years earlier than you thought possible? The things you could do, the loved ones you could spend time with, the memories that you could create. That's what our team at the New Millennium Group does. We'll walk you through the entire process every step of the way. If you'd like to get a copy of the 5-step proprietary plan that will help you retire 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible, give us a shout right now. 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com. Listen, most of our listeners right now have a tax problem, not a money problem. There's not enough money in Social Security Medicare as it is. Let us show you how you can significantly reduce your taxes. That's 888-999-6370, 888-999-6370, or utahsfinancialplanner.com.
It's 1:31 at KSL News Radio. I'm Isabella Sosa. KSL's top local story this hour. We have an update on the I-80 crash in Tooele. One person has died after the crash involving 3 vehicles eastbound on I-80 near the Great Saltaire. Eastbound lanes are closed and traffic is being diverted to the 201. Lehigh police say a major drug bust this week shut down a suspected stash house in Lehigh. Detectives with the Utah County Major Crimes Task Force received a tip about a man in Eagle Mountain allegedly selling marijuana, THC concentrates, and psilocybin mushrooms across Utah and Salt Lake counties. On Wednesday, officers seized 74 pounds of THC wax, 25 pounds of marijuana, more than 3,000 THC edibles, vape cartridges, and over $12,000 in cash. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. In a blow to President Donald Trump's economic agenda, the Supreme Court has ruled most of his sweeping tariffs are illegal.
The Supreme Court ruling most of his sweeping tariffs are illegal. Trump lashing out at the justices, calling them unpatriotic and disloyal.
I'm ashamed of certain members of the court, absolutely ashamed, for not having the courage to do what's right for our country.
In a 6-3 decision, the court's liberal justice joining 3 staunch conservatives, including 2 appointed by Trump himself.
That's ABC's News senior White House correspondent Selena Wang. Coming up, partly cloudy skies. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 1:32.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Couponing. Wow, you didn't strike me as the coupon type.
Just trying to stay ahead of inflation. Gas, groceries, everything. It's all more expensive. I need to save wherever I can.
Have you tried Upside yet?
Upside? What's that?
It's a free app that I use that pays cash back for every gallon of gas I buy. You've got to buy gas to get around anyway. Might as well get paid for it.
Come on, does that really add up to anything?
I've already made around $200. The extra cash helped pay down my bills, and I even had a little extra left to treat myself.
And the Upside app is free?
Totally free, and the cash back is real. You can transfer the cash right to your bank account.
I'm downloading Upside right now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code ENJOY to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code ENJOY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code ENJOY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Arrive in style for all of life's events, at every age, at every milestone. For nearly 60 years, Mr. Mac, helping you look your best for all of life's events.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by UCCU. Earn 4.44% on savings at uccu.com. Looks like Big Cottonwood Canyon Road has opened up, but you should still expect some delays. The eastbound lanes of I-80 near the Great Saltaire are still closed. Today's high is 44 with a low of 21 and partially cloudy skies and a 0% chance of rain. Right now, it's partly cloudy and 43 degrees. I'm Isabella Sosa, KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com. Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's Cougar Sports Saturday.
Touchdown! Stayed inside the boundary and gets in for 6.
Cougar Sports Saturday, a presentation of KSL Sports.
Richie right to the rim, driving score!
BYU Sports Talk by Cougar fans for Cougar fans. Here's your host, Mitch Harper, on Utah's legacy home of the Cougars. KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Cougar Sports Saturday, live here in Salt Lake City, Utah on February 21st. Mitch Harper and Nate Slack with you. We'll watch some Big 12 hoops. A big one in the Big 12. They're all big, but some take on greater significance. Number 4, Arizona at number 2, Houston. Arizona up 22-19 with 8:30 to go in the first half. Arizona had a 9-2 lead in the early going as Arizona buries a 3 with, who's that, Karchenkov? He's like a BYU killer. Arizona up 25-19 on the Cougs of Houston. We'll keep tabs on that throughout the show. BYU football will also be keeping tabs on throughout spring ball. 15 practices going to take place for the Cougars, and it kicks off on Friday. Some bold prediction time, Nate. Got a bold prediction for spring ball? Is someone going to emerge? Some storyline going to take place from spring that you're going to go out on a limb and say this becomes a thing during spring ball? What's your bold predictions?
My bold prediction is stemming from last year. Now, last year, every June we have a media golf event where we're able to go golfing with BYU football coaches and players, talk with them after, kind of get some thoughts and feelings from them before the season starts. So last year, in a conversation that it was me, Matt Baiamonte, and wide receiver coach Fesi Sataki. And Fesi Sataki was raving about this new receiver coming in, Reggie Frischknecht. He didn't play a ton last year. He suffered, I believe, a hamstring injury in fall camp.
Yeah, he did.
And so we didn't get to see a ton of him. I'm going to make the bold prediction. I think he's going to be one of BYU's 3 starting wide receivers come the NFL camp, or come the end of the spring ball.
Wow. Okay, Reggie Frischknecht, former Snow College product, was at Weber State for a semester, then transferred in to BYU. You're buying the Reggie Frischknecht hype, even though last year didn't really make a dent at all.
Yeah, not at all. And it was kind of weird last year because it seemed to be such a small rotating room between the receivers. Matt talked about Tay Nakua. He didn't play a ton.
Yeah.
Cody Hagan only seemed to get runs when they did that kind of goofy tornado reverse and he was getting pitched the ball and scampering. But I think Reggie Frischknecht is going to be I think he could be a really good replacement for Chase Roberts. He's got that similar body type. He's a big body, 6'4", 207.
He's big.
He's blazing fast. So I've got high expectations for Reggie Frischknecht. I think as long as he stays healthy, he's going to be one of the 3 impact guys for the BYU football team.
He was a level 15 gymnast, according to his BYU bio.
Oh, wow.
I don't know what levels that means.
I think it's just muscles, Mitch.
I have to maybe ask him, level 15, what does a level 15 gymnast look like? I will say with Reggie Frischknecht, the catch radius on him is big, and he is tall. He had like a number change during the season. He went from 18 to number 7 last year. He will be one to watch. I like that prediction because when you do look at that wide receiver spot, I hope that Fesi Satake goes into spring with just a blank slate. Just kind of reset the deck.
Yeah.
Chase is gone. Parker Kingston's gone. Those are your top 2 receivers. You know, and JoJo was a starter, but I don't think anyone says, okay, he just immediately catapults to wide receiver 1. He dealt with an injury, shoulder injury, that kept him out from Stanford game all the way to Texas Tech in Lubbock. I mean, that was
and
a
he was
long
great
gap.
in that Stanford game. He was leading the team in targets before he went out.
Look, in fall camp last year, Bear Bachmeier's number 1 target was JoJo Phillips. There's no doubt. I mean, you just go, it was like unofficial count. Again, watching it in fall camp last year, but Bear was always going to JoJo. Him and Carson Ryan were the top 2 guys when Bear was going through the quarterback battle. And then that showed itself in that Stanford game where he was getting targeted heavily. But then that evaporated at season's end because he had drops too.
Yeah, big drops.
The Texas Tech game, he had a drop, and there were other drops. So I think when you pair that, the losses paired up with some of the guys that are returning were inconsistent at their play. I feel like if you're Fessy, you just have a blank slate, and you just say, you know what? I'm leaving this. Let the cream rise to the top, and let the best players, let the best men win. If that's Tiger Bachmeier, if that's JoJo, if that's Reggie Frischneck, by all means, make it happen, gentlemen. And to steal a line from Aaron Roderick, the teammates, the players will know. They always say that about the quarterback. Well, we will know, and the players will know when the best players rise to the top. Could Cody Hagan be that? I've always been high on Cody Hagan. I feel like at times he's been a little bit misutilized where he's just labeled a slot guy. At Corner Canyon, he was on the outside as a deep threat playmaker on the edge. Could he be that for BYU? But then you also, at receiver, have these young guns in Jaron Pula, Legend Glasgow, Terrence Serion, Jet Nilsson. BYU hasn't really operated in a space where they bank on freshmen to step in and contribute. I think, though, this is the year based on the opportunity and the level of recruits that some of those guys are, that could create an opportunity for these young guys to really step in. And we see some freshmen maybe in the top 6 of this wide receiver unit in 2026. I really feel, again, with no spring portal window to go add to this group, you're going to find it out in spring, I feel. Like you're going to figure out your top 6 right now in these 15 practices. So I think it creates an opportunity for the freshmen to step in as well. But I like the pick of Frischneck because when he was healthy in fall camp, you saw him getting early second-team unit run because every snap in camp, whether it's fall or spring, matters a ton. And just to say, like, that shows you where the coaches think this guy's got potential to be something really good.
Yeah, nowadays, Mitch, you have to play freshmen. Otherwise, they're going to wind up in the transfer portal.
Yeah.
There was a great catch last year during fall camp by LeMason Waller. He got injured. He came back later in the season. He ends up transferring like minutes after the Big 12 championship game ended.
I'm in the AT&T Stadium press conference room. Kalani's seriously at the dais, the podium. And then I'm seeing LeMason Waller go, I'm heading to the portal. I'm like, oh, that was quick.
Yeah, it's insane nowadays, Mitch. But you have to play these freshman guys or else they'll leave. Even back to the Jimmer Fredette podcast I was listening to a couple weeks ago, he was talking about maybe there was a world where after his freshman year he didn't play a ton. He could have transferred
Oh, no
out.
question. He would have been gone.
He would have been gone.
I mean, even if you go back further in the archive of football, imagine Ty Detmer. After he wins the Heisman as a junior, going to the portal. He would have made like millions as a Heisman winner.
Yeah.
And you hate to think that because Ty is BYU, Jimmer is BYU, but it's like, I'm so glad some of those legends were at BYU when they were, because they probably exit or at least go portaling to get the leverage and then get a massive payday from the collective and the boosters and rev share. For me, going into spring ball, my bold prediction. So I think that for BYU, I think there's going to be, I always like the young guys who can emerge as some face that's like a big-time talent out of spring ball. I think it's just it's an opportunity. I think, again, with a lot of players recovering from injuries, think about it. BYU will kick off spring ball next Friday. That's only 2 months removed from the Pop-Tarts Bowl. They played on December 27th. Yeah. That's a pretty short window. So if anyone was banged up in bowl prep or banged up in that game, that's only 2 months ago. So you're going to have, a little bit of guys that are unavailable or maybe precautionary because, again, you want to have them ready for the fall. So I think it creates a space for young guys to really emerge and become talented players for BYU. I think it's not glamorous to talk about when it comes to spring practice. I think this offensive line is going to be better than last year. Last year's offensive line was good. I think they were solid. I think Jada could be an NFL guy. I think he could be a late-round pick, maybe an undrafted free agent. And Gentry's coming back. Bruce Mitchell, first-team All-Big 12, comes back. Whalen's a loss. But, again, I think this group's going to be better. I think Paki Finau He could play tackle. He could play guard. I talked to Kalani on signing day about Finau. He raved about Paki Finau from Washington. Zach Yamauchi. I'm also curious, we forget about this name, Joe Brown. Joe Brown's a name we've heard about for years when he came back from his Gold's Gym mission. But it's a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but he's a physical freak. He's finally healthy. Let's see what he can provide to the offensive line. You got Kyle Safarachuk. You've got Sonny Mocassini. You've also got Bruce Mitchell, Junior Sia. You've got Ethan Thomason. He got a little bit banged up in bowl prep with the ankle. Andrew Williams is going to be an absolute stud at tackle. Latu Finau, Uvete. And then Bob Mulitalo, a 4-star top 100 recruit, comes in the mix. And Kalani drew some parallels to Penei Sewell and Kingsley Suamataia. Say less. So I think that the offensive line, even though it's going to be completely retooled potentially, I think they're going to be better. And I think there's going to be a lot of excitement about that group coming out of spring. It's going to be a work in progress, figuring out the best 5. But I think this O-line is going to be better in 2026. And that's, again, a foundation, regardless of who the receivers are, because to its core, and it sounds crazy to say, but BYU wants to run the football. They want to run the ball and be a physically dominant team. And you got the offensive line, I think, to do that. And you got the depth there that you can withstand an injury or two and still operate at a high level.
I love that take. And I think we don't give enough credit to TJ Woods for what he's done to the offensive line room. Because when Grimes took off and went to Baylor and he grabbed the Barrington brothers to go with him, the cupboard was pretty bare at BYU. And for what TJ Woods been able to do so quickly to turn it around, it's been great. So I love that take. I think that's a reason alone to be optimistic about BYU this season, is because, at least in college football, if you have a good offensive line, you have a good chance at winning a lot of football games.
And think about, too, the last 3 years, the left tackles, Kingsley, Caleb Etienne, a first-team All-Big 12 guy, Isaiah Jada. We'll see if Gentry slides over to left. It could be Junior Sia. We'll see what happens there. But, I mean, the expectation is now for BYU, really since 2020, but in the Big 12 era, you're going to have one of the best tackles in the league. I think that's kind of the standard that BYU has set at the offensive tackle position.
Which is great because we had gone from 2020, it had been 15 years or so since an offensive lineman was drafted.
Scott Young to Brady Christensen. There was no offensive lineman picked until Christensen got picked in 2021 to the Panthers.
That's crazy.
So
that's insane.
BYU has really leveled up on the offensive line. And I bring that up again because it's not glamorous. Like, I don't go to a spring practice and just go, like, I personally enjoy watching the linemen operate. Like, I love watching the D-line and the offensive line because, again, it's so critical to the success of the team. But, like, I just think there's going to be a lot of positive momentum coming out of spring ball with this O-line because, Zach Yamauchi from Stanford, I don't know if he's instantly plug-and-play like Finau is. Junior C, I think he could be a plug-and-play guy. But, again, I feel like you might have a personnel that you've got 10 players that could be starter caliber. I think they already feel confident there's at least 7 or 8. It could stretch out to 10, depending on the health of some guys and where they progress through their first springs at BYU. So that's going to be a talented group for BYU. Let's take a break. We'll get to some more BYU football and BYU basketball as the Cougars get ready for Iowa State tonight here on Cougar Sports Saturday, and it's powered by KSL Sports.
Some of the most meaningful jewelry you own isn't new. It's inherited. A ring from a grandmother. A necklace tucked away in a drawer. Pieces full of memories, but no longer your style. Duke's Jeweler specializes in reimagining family heirlooms into custom pieces you'll actually wear and love. Duke's on-site jewelers and designers work with you one-on-one to honor the original story while creating something fresh, modern, and uniquely yours. From resetting diamonds into new engagement rings to transforming multiple heirloom pieces into one stunning design. Every project is crafted with care, precision, and intention. Don't let meaningful jewelry sit unused. Let it live on beautifully. Visit Duke's Jewelers on Main Street in Springville or online at dukesjewelers.com. Duke's Jewelers, where old stories become new treasures. dukesjewelers.com.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Couponing. Wow, you didn't strike me as the coupon type.
Just trying to stay ahead of inflation. Gas, groceries, everything. It's all more expensive. I need to save wherever I can.
Have you tried Upside yet?
Upside? What's that?
It's a free app that I use that pays cash back for every gallon of gas I buy. You've got to buy gas to get around anyway. Might as well get paid for it.
Come on, does that really add up to anything?
I've already made around $200. The extra cash helped pay down my bills, and I even had a little extra left to treat myself.
And the Upside app is free?
Totally free, and the cash back is real. You can transfer the cash right to your bank account.
I'm downloading Upside right now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code ENJOY to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code ENJOY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code ENJOY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Comcast Business helps turn today's small businesses into engines of modern business. It's how restaurants become reliably up and running neighborhood favorites. How retailers become seamlessly restocking, cyber-securing, must-visit shops. And how healthcare offices become the data managing caregivers that we all depend on. With reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, advanced fiber solutions, and Wi-Fi backup, Comcast Business is powering the engine of modern business. Powering possibilities.
Now through March 22nd, switch to Comcast Business and get started with 150 megabit internet plus Security Edge for $59.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement. Or ask how to lock in your rate for 5 years on a qualifying internet bundle and get a $500 prepaid card when you add 2 lines of mobile. For a limited time only. Call today. Restrictions apply. New customers only. Requires paperless billing and automatic payments with bank account. Equipment, taxes, and other fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply.
This month, Pure Talk is honoring Jackson and Lincoln by offering unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data for just $25 a month. Meanwhile, Big Wireless is honoring Benjamin Franklin by charging families hundreds of dollars for the same 5G service. What's up with that? Ben Franklin wasn't even a president. When you switch to Pure Talk, you'll be in business with an American wireless company that supports our vets in a big way and keeps all their customer service in this country. That's important. And you'll be on the same towers the big carriers use, so you'll get the same 5G service without the inflated price. So hang on to your Benjamins and switch to Pure Talk for a Jackson and a Lincoln. No contract, no hidden fees. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and you'll get 50% off your first month when you switch. That's pound 250, Mike Rowe, for an American wireless company that is truly unprecedented. Pure Talk.
Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 877 Cars for Kids to speak to a friendly live agent. Donation's super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Go to carsforkids.org now or call 877 Cars for Kids to donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Did you know you can donate real estate too?
Cougar Sports Saturday. Mitch Harper and Nate Slack with you. So yesterday, I had the chance on our sibling station, the KSL Sports Zone, to co-host with Scott Gerard and Josh Furlong a final 60-60 rank of the best players in the state of Utah for the 2025 football season. We ended up just going with 25. No, 60-60. It's a little bit taken on a different form because of all the portal movement and things like that. Top 25 players in the state of Utah for the 2025 season. This list tends to create a lot of debate among BYU and Utah fans in particular. Here was the top 10 within that, top 25. I'll read it off from 10 and up, Nate. 10, BYU's Tanner Wall, safety. Number 9, wide receiver Chase Roberts. Number 8, Falatau Satuwala. 7, from Utah, offensive tackle Caleb Lomu. 6, Devin Dampier, Utah quarterback. 5, BYU quarterback Bear Bachmeier. 4, BYU linebacker, edge rusher Jack Kelly. 3, defensive end, Utah, John Henry Daly, also former Coug, but tore it up with the Utes last year. He's going off to Michigan. Number 2, BYU running back L.J. Martin. And number 1, Spencer Fano, Utah offensive tackle. Your thoughts on that top 10 for the 60 and 60 on the KSL Sports Zone, Nate?
So my eyes first went to Bear Bachmeier. And it's funny when the AP top 25 polls come out, I feel like my eyes instantly go to where's BYU ranked?
Yes.
Okay, they're at number 13. Let's see what teams are around them. So my eyes first went to Bear Bachmeier, and I go, he's got to be above Devin Dampier, right?
Yes.
He has to be. So I'm happy to see that Dampier is 6. I think he was good for Utah this year, but I think Bear was better for BYU. So I like the placement of Bear. I like Jack Kelly at number 4. And I like L.J. Martin being the highest rated BYU player because I think he was BYU's best player last season. So I think it's a good list. I don't have any complaints. The only one is maybe Tanner Wall being a little higher than Falatau Satuwala, just because I think he was more consistent throughout the year. Now you'll have highlight plays like the pick 6 that Falatau Satuwala had against Iowa State, who basketball plays tonight coincidentally. But I think across the board, Tanner Wall was a better football player. I like the list though.
I think in the conversation of Satuwala and Tanner Wall, I'm with you. I think Tanner should have been higher, but I will say this: Satuwala, I think with 2 years remaining and him showing that he's running it back at BYU, I think he has the potential to be one of the all-time best safeties in the history of the program.
Yeah,
100%. Like I'm putting a lot on Satuwala, but I mean what you saw as a safety this past season, and some outlets had him as an All-American. The Football Writers Association had him as second-team All-American. And really, he didn't take over until about that Arizona game.
Yeah, when Raider Demooney got hurt.
So I think but I'm with you, though. Tanner was just the steadying force for BYU, and he was so consistent. He was so good. And then he had a pick 6, too, against TCU. Tanner Wall, I don't bet against that guy making it in the league. In the NFL, I'll say that with Tanner Wall. Like you, too, I also, my eyes were drawn to the quarterback stuff because Bear was better. And also, not only statistically better than Devin Dampier, he beat Utah, which I think that's always a, trump card, tiebreaker in these sort of in-state lists. BYU beat the Utes. But Bear was really good, and I think it's even more impressive, too, when you consider he didn't arrive on campus until June. And he goes off for 3,000 yards, and he was BYU's second leading rusher. And you wish that he could have stayed healthy in that Big 12 championship game because even though Texas Tech was a lot better than BYU, the way that first drive operated and how BYU scored a touchdown, and on that play they score, Bear gets hurt, that changed the game to me. I feel like there would have been a little bit more of a fight in that first half, and the miscues and the forcing the issue does not happen. And the ability to get downfield through the air, it was a non-factor for Bear because he was so banged up in that game in Arlington. Still, Texas Tech, much better team. But yeah, I think, and I do agree Spencer Fano was the best player in the state.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Outland Trophy winner, I can't oppose that. Like he's going to be a top 5 pick probably, maybe 6 with the Cleveland Browns. So I'm okay with that. I think there were years past where, what was it? Maybe when Cam Rising was ranked above, I'm trying to think, was it above Jaron Hall or was it above?
It was Jaron Hall.
Yes.
He was ranked above Jaron Hall.
And you thought, no, that should not be the case because that was the year where he comes in late, or not late, but like week 4, and Jaron beats Utah. And even though it was Utah was, went to the Rose Bowl that year and they won the Pac-12, BYU beat them and he didn't even win the job to start the season. It was Charlie Burrow. But so that sort of like 60 and 60 list, I think for Cougar fans was like, oh, they're ranking Rising over Jaron. This year, I think you had to go Bear. I will be curious to see, though, the jump that Bear takes this season, and also Utah with Devin Dampier. I wonder if Dampier takes a bit of a step back because the offensive line, I don't think, will be as good for Utah. I mean, they had Lomu and Fano, who are going to be 2 first-round NFL draft picks. I can't imagine their bench is to that level, but we shall see. So it'll be interesting. But I think, again, the trump card in those sort of in-state rankings is always got to win the game. And BYU's won 3 in a row over the Utes in the rivalry. Let's take a break. We'll get to some hoops now as we'll get to know the foe with an Iowa State insider next here on Cougar Sports Saturday on the legacy home of the Cougars, KSL News Radio.
KSL FM Midvale, KSL Salt Lake City.
From ABC News, I'm Chuck Sievertson. The East is really getting socked with snow this winter. More's coming tomorrow. Another big storm Sunday into Monday could drop a foot or more from the southeast to the northeast, including along the I-95 corridor. New York City Mayor Zoran Mandani says that the city is expecting between 13 and 17 inches of snow.
Tomorrow, our city will face its second snowstorm in less than a month and our first blizzard since 2016.
Amid a U.S. military buildup in the Mideast, Iran warns that any U.S. attack would bring a response against all U.S. bases and other assets in the region. In Tel Aviv, ABC's Ian Pannell.
In a sign of the anxiety about the possibility of Iranian retaliation to any attack, U.S. officials confirming overnight that a number of U.S. troops may be moved out of their bases in the region.
The U.S. wants Iran to stop enriching uranium, curb missiles, and stop support for militant groups. Yesterday, President Trump announced a 10% global tariff rate under a different law than the one that led the Supreme Court to invalidate most of his previous tariffs. Today, he raised that to 15%. ABC's Selena Wang.
Many economists say tariffs are actually taxes on American businesses who pass the cost to consumers by raising prices. By one estimate, the president's tariffs have cost American families an extra $1,600 a year.
Police officers searching the home of the former British Prince Andrew for a third day over his connection with Jeffrey Epstein. ABC News royal contributor Victoria Murphy.
The focus has shifted a lot, I think, onto this wider question for the royal family about who knew what and if anyone knew anything else. Generally, wider questions are very dangerous for the royal family right now about privilege.
ABC's Victoria Murphy. You're listening to ABC News.
Offer not valid in all states or prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Honey, our credit card bill came and it's higher than last month.
How? We haven't charged anything.
Paying the minimum isn't enough. It will keep getting higher until we take control. We need to go to 47fastcash.com.
With our bad credit?
47fastcash.com can help any credit type get approved for up to $5,000 in minutes.
Take control and get the money you need at 47fastcash.com. 47fastcash.com.
I've been telling you all about the secret war on our cash and the free report you can receive a copy of by contacting Swiss America at 800-289-2646. I'd also like to encourage you to subscribe to their podcast on YouTube. Just search Swiss America Trading. The podcast can provide you a ton of vital information and financial news in the challenging and uncertain times we're in. Subscribe today. Learn more about BRICS, industry leaders, and their market predictions for the future, along with what you might expect to see in terms of precious metal performance in the weeks and months ahead. Message and data rates may apply.
What most people don't realize is this. If you got government Obamacare health insurance again, especially here in Utah, you're not just overpaying a premium, you're carrying most of the risk yourself. At My Policy Quote, yes, I can help reduce premiums. In fact, many families are seeing around 47% savings, even more on gold level plans. But the real issue shows up when life happens. A doctor visit, a lab work, an ER trip. The moment you hand over that blue card or any big box insurance, that's when prices jump. And with families suffering with deductibles now reaching $20,000, you're paying all of the out-of-pocket long before the insurance starts to help. My name's Mike at My Policy Quote, and I work with private insurance based on your health, not your income, so you're not forced into a one-size-fits-all coverage. That means lower overall costs, access to national PPO networks, and plans designed around how families actually use care. If you pay your own health insurance, self-employed or small businesses, call me, Mike, today. 385-367-6779. Again, that's 385-367-6779. Or visit mypolicyquote.com. That's mypolicyquote.com. CougarSportsDaily.com to get started now.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Couponing. Wow, you didn't strike me as the coupon type.
Just trying to stay ahead of inflation. Gas, groceries, everything. It's all more expensive. I need to save wherever I can.
Have you tried Upside yet?
Upside? What's that?
It's a free app that I use that pays cash back for every gallon of gas I buy. You've got to buy gas to get around anyway. Might as well get paid for it.
Come on, does that really add up to anything?
I've already made around $200. The extra cash helped pay down my bills, and I even had a little extra left to treat myself.
And the Upside app is free?
Totally free, and the cash back is real. You can transfer the cash right to your bank account.
I'm downloading Upside right now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code ENJOY to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code ENJOY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code ENJOY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
It's Cougar Sports Saturday.
Touchdown! Stayed inside the boundary and gets in for 6.
Cougar Sports Saturday, a presentation of KSL Sports.
Richie right to the rim, driving score!
BYU Sports Talk by Cougar fans for Cougar fans. Here's your host, Mitch Harper, on Utah's legacy home of the Cougars. KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Welcome back into Cougar Sports Saturday. Mitch Harper and Nate Slack with you today. Watch Big 12 hoops right now. Number 4 Arizona up 36-29 on number 2 Houston. And what kind of feels like a Final Four game. The top 4 teams in the country are facing each other today. Only the second time in the history of the AP poll that is happening in the regular season. 2 versus 4 in the Big 12, Houston and Arizona. And then number 1 versus number 3, Michigan versus Duke. So a big day of basketball, and BYU caps it all off by facing number 6 Iowa State, who, as of today, listed as a number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament by the selection committee in what they called a bracket preview. So it's a huge game tonight and a huge opportunity for a BYU team in desperate need of a big win on its NCAA tournament resume. And to get the lowdown on these 6th-ranked Iowa State Cyclones, I was joined by Jake Brend from Cyclone Fanatic, and here's my conversation with Jake. Jake, I got to imagine after 2 big wins, Iowa State fans are loving life right now.
Yeah, it's hard to feel much better than coming off of beating number 9 Kansas, one of Iowa State's biggest rivals, and then number 2 Houston in one of the best basketball games I've ever attended. So Cyclone fans are feeling high, but it's going to come to a test soon. A tough trip out to Utah with BYU, and Utah won't be as much of a test, but the Cougars they've had Iowa State's number for the past few years. So it's not a game any fan is looking past.
And I wanted to follow up on that because last year, those games I thought were some of the best, most entertaining games maybe in the entire Big 12 season.
Yeah.
That game in Kansas City felt like an NBA game, the style that those two teams played. Do you think Iowa State's maybe learned some things from those 2 meetings last year, going up against Kevin Young? They're better equipped to maybe slow down BYU this time around?
Yeah, I wonder, and you would probably know better. It seems to me like BYU's play style has changed a little bit, and that's natural when you add in the number 2 pick in the NBA draft. It seems like what they used to do so well that gave Iowa State problems was they were so good at passing out of the double team and out of the blitzes and out of the post traps, and were able to kick it to so many 3-point shooters. And now rightfully so, it seems like their primary offense is Debance iso ball, which I get. When you've got a player like that, you do it. So I don't exactly know how much past matchups play into this specific matchup, but you might know better. You cover BYU daily.
You're spot on. BYU definitely is a different style this year. It's a lot more ISO. I mean, earlier this week against Arizona, BYU only had 7 assists. A lot of it was with AJ DeBonsa. So who do you think gets the defensive assignment from Iowa State to try to slow down AJ?
There's not a perfect matchup, for anyone in the country to guard DeBansa, but it's certainly even more difficult for Iowa State. As good as they are defensively, they don't really have that wing defender. Like Jefferson is a great post defender, Joshua Jefferson. And he can certainly hang with guys that are quicker than him, but you probably don't want to stick him on AJ the entire game. Killian Torrey has been coined the term the torture chamber with what he's done to other teams' opposing best players. Has held Braden Smith, Bennett Sturts, Darren Peterson, all of those guys well beneath their season average. But he's been doing that against guards as a guard. So I'd imagine he gets a crack at Debanza, but he's certainly not going to be the primary defender. And then Nate Heisey and Jamarian Bateman coming off the bench. Two guys, 6'4", really physical. I would imagine you kind of see all four of those names maybe taking turns. And Iowa State doubles the post. So anytime AJ catches the ball with the back to his basket, he'll have two guys on him right away. And that typically forces the other team to try and pass out of that and let someone else hit shots. But I'd imagine a committee will be trying to guard Debanza on Saturday night.
Talk with Jake Brand of Cyclone Fanatic here on Cougar Tracks as we get ready for BYU and Iowa State. Tip-off at 8:30, Mountain Time, 9:30 p.m. Central Time. What's the reaction from Cyclone fans about the late-night tip? At least it's a weekend, but do they like that at all?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to hear some people against it regardless, but there's going to be some people that are mad about anything. They'd be mad about a noon game. So I think generally at this point, Iowa State fans are getting used to the later tips once or twice a season. Didn't have any in football this year, but went out to Utah 2 seasons ago and went out to BYU 3 seasons ago in football. Last year, they had a big Monday game at Arizona that tipped off super late. So I think fans are getting used to it. Our company, Cyclone Fanatic, while I leave town to head out to Utah, they're doing a game watch at a local brewery, and I'm sure that'll be a fun night as long as the Cyclones win. But they'll get that party started at 9:30, and it probably won't end anytime soon.
That's awesome. And this game, this matchup, I'm curious to kind of a lot of familiar faces with Iowa State. You brought up Joshua Jefferson earlier. How's he evolved this year to where he's one of the best players in the country?
Yeah, a lot of it is just another year in TJ Altsberger's system. His track record speaks for itself. Players get so much better from year 1 to year 2. But in Jefferson's case, he was healthy for most of the offseason. When he came in from St. Mary's last year, he was dealing with a lot of different injuries, a knee injury, and he wasn't really cleared until the fall. So he was a little bit behind his body, and if you look at him now, he's completely transformed his body. He's so much more chiseled. His conditioning is so much better. He plays not the full 40, but he's given him a consistent 33 minutes a night, and he's just gotten so much better at really everything he does, and it hasn't been one specific change in any area. He's up to shooting. He's up to his assist numbers. He's up to his rebounds, steals, blocks. He's just gotten consistently better across the board, and he's turned himself into a surefire first-team All-Big 12 player. He's probably going to be an All-American. It's just a question, is it second or first team? Jefferson's certainly one of the best players that's ever come through Ames.
And I'm curious, Jake, what do you believe is maybe the biggest question you have for this Iowa State team, not only for this matchup against BYU, but the rest of the way for this season? What's still something that you maybe have a question about with this group?
Yeah, the glaring one is free throws. Iowa State's 348 in the country in free throws. A lot of it's weighed down to Blake Buchanan, who he is what he is at this point. He's going to be a 45% 45% free throw shooter, and that is what it is. It comes down to the clutch for me. Taman Lipsey and Joshua Jefferson have missed a lot of clutch free throws here the last couple weeks. It's up to them to revert to the mean. But other than that, problems that I've seen Iowa State lose games from, it sounds crazy, but it's just effort. Like when they got beat bad by Cincinnati just played harder. And Iowa State's really talented. Joshua Jefferson's going to be a first-round pick. Mila Momcilovic has a chance to be a first-round pick. Taman Lipsey's one of the best players in school history. They're talented, but they're not talented enough to just show up and win. You know, when you watch Iowa State basketball, you're going to see a team that dives on the floor for loose balls, plays essentially a rugby game, a football game. And when Iowa State's not doing that, that's when they get into problems. But I think they've had enough games this year to realize that this is what we got to do. And when they're doing that, this team just doesn't have a ton of flaws other than, you know, hope the wrong night as far as shots falling doesn't show up in the NCAA tournament.
And speaking of the NCAA tournament, what do you think the ceiling is for this team?
I think it's a national championship. I don't think you can ever realistically expect a national championship. Sure. I would say the way I would put it is I'd be pretty dang content with an Elite Eight, but you'd still feel like maybe there's a little bit of meat on that bone that you didn't completely get. And I would be fully satisfied, fully happy with a Final Four appearance. And if you can reach a Final Four, anything after that is gravy. Anything after that is you just kind of hope and pray. But I think an Elite Eight for this team is not the floor. I believe it should be viewed as the floor, though, because this team lost to TCU. This team lost to Cincinnati. They're more than capable of getting clipped if they don't bring it. But I think this team has proven to the fans that they should expect an Elite Eight and nothing less.
He's Jake Brend. You can follow his work at CycloneFanatic.com, chief content producer. Again, does a great job on the Daily Clone as well. And you said you're going to be in Provo on Saturday night then? Awesome.
Yeah, my first ever trip out there, so I'm really excited. I'll be there for the Saturday, Tuesday swing out in Utah.
Awesome. Yeah, you'll be taken care of. I'm sure the BYU Media Relations will get you a Cougar Tell. You'll be hooked up. It's going to be fun atmosphere. I mean, you know, great atmospheres with Hilton Coliseum, and Marriott Center just adds to the great venues in the Marriott Center. So glad that you'll be out here and looking forward to a good matchup.
Thank you. Yeah, I've heard nothing but great things about Provo, the Marriott Center, so I can't wait to experience it all and experience that Provo hospitality.
That's Jake Brend with CycloneFanatic.com. I should say he's going to be in the Marriott Center tonight covering it for the Cyclones. This is totally off topic, Nate, but after the interview, I didn't know how to react, so I plan to say hello to any visiting reporter. I always get the chance to sit next to visiting reporters at my seat on press row. I'll make sure to say hi to Jake tonight and, you know, welcome him to Provo. Not that I'm like the ambassador of BYU, but just be friendly and be nice and show folks around if they need help.
Yeah, sure.
After our call, he said, I don't know how to react to this. I don't know what I'm trying to think about how I should go about this tonight. I said, hey, thanks for hopping on, Jake. Really appreciate doing that. He said, no problem, Micah. I said, what? He called me Micah.
Oh,
and I'm kind of wondering tonight if I see him and I say, hey, Jake, hey, welcome to Marriott Center, man. How's it going? And he's like, oh, good, Mike. Like, should I tell him, like, hey, it's Mitch, or is it too late? Like, what do I do?
That's a tough one.
Do I tell him, like, hey, actually, my name's Mitch, but he said Micah. And I think he said it twice. And I'm kind of like, do I correct him if I see him tonight and he says, hey, Micah? And I go, it's actually Mitch. I don't know what to do.
Oh, man. That's so awkward. I'm glad it's you and not me, Mitch.
Well, I was thinking to myself, and I thought about it, like, does my name kind of look like Micah? I'm like, M-I-T-C-H? I mean, the C and the H, I guess. I don't know.
Well, it's one thing when it's Micah Harper. You got Mitch Harper, Micah Harper.
That is true. Maybe that's what he did. Maybe he Googled me, and he said, like, Mitch Harper, BYU.
You know what? Micah Harper just transferred from Montana to Iowa State.
Oh!
Maybe that's it.
That's it.
Maybe that's it.
I forgot that. Micah Harper's at Iowa State.
Yeah.
But maybe he searched Mitch Harper BYU on Google, and then it just pulled up Micah Harper. He's like, oh, I'm talking to Micah Harper today on his show.
I think you just got to run with it.
Oh, Micah Harper's going to Iowa State. Maybe that's it. Maybe he just got confused by the Basha High
He's
School.
He's just so excited about having Micah Harper.
The next Diane Lake. I forgot he's a Cyclone now. Yeah. Holy cow. Micah Harper's still playing?
I love Micah Harper. Back in like 2021, oh, man. Love me some Micah Harper.
Holy cow. Man, these college careers, man, they extend pretty far. Let's take a break. I'll have to address that tonight I'll say hi to Jake. I appreciate Jake for hopping on, but now maybe that's the context I needed. You just revealed that. That's probably why I said Mike, and maybe he was just thinking Micah Harper, the football player. Anyway, all right, let's take a break. We'll dive more into this BYU-Iowa State matchup next here on Cougar Sports Saturday.
Doug Wright here with Monty at Connecticut Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake, an authorized independent dealer. Monty, give it to me straight. Why is Connecticut the premium choice over those standard electric softeners?
Doug, it comes down to this. Do you want an appliance you have to babysit? Standard water softeners have microprocessors and computers that need setting and adjustment. And they use a lot more salt. So you get to haul 40-pound bags of salt down to your basement every month or so.
And Connecticut?
Zero electricity, zero timers to reset, zero downtime, and uses 70% less salt. It's a higher standard of engineering that completely removes the hassle of owning a water softener.
That's what I love about my Connecticut. Dee and I never have to even think about it. We occasionally add a bag of salt and it just works, and I've never had to set or adjust anything. Do what I did and get the one that just works. Find out how soft your water could be at softwaterutah.com. That's softwaterutah.com.
Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck, and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
Quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about wage garnishment, coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Kind of figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax, they know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
This message is for Shauna, my mom who just finished her high school diploma. I wanted to say I'm so proud of you for finishing school. You taught me it's never too late to achieve your dreams. I hope to make you as proud as you have made me.
When you graduate, they graduate. Finish your high school diploma for you and for them. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
This is Jeff Stout with Fink and McGregor, Mortgages Made Simple. Let's talk conventional versus FHA loans. Both offer cash-out refinances up to 80% loan-to-value or LTV, so which is best for you? It's kind of like Uber and Lyft. I always compare the two before booking a ride. Conventional loans don't have mortgage insurance under 80% LTV. However, the rates and costs get higher with lower credit scores, cash out, and high LTVs. FHA loans always have mortgage insurance, but the rates are lower, they don't penalize you for cash out and high LTV loans, and they allow for higher debt-to-income ratios. FHA often results in lower payment even with mortgage insurance. We can analyze your situation within minutes. Call us today. Fink and McGregor, Mortgages Made Simple, 801-264-9494. That's 264-9494. Or on the web at finkmcgregor.com. NMLS 289115.
Since 1947, Whipple Service Champions has been Utah's most trusted name for heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical services. Got a high-priced repair bill from another company and you're just not sure about it? Call Whipple. Get a free, no-pressure estimate or bring us their quote for an honest second opinion. Totally free. Whipple Service Champions, Utah's first place for second opinions since 1947. Call 385-273-7167 for your free estimate today. 385-273-7167.
When Team USA is on, you can almost see the moment a kid starts believing they could be next. Now, while Xfinity can't guarantee that, they can guarantee something just as important, that your internet price won't change for 5 years. No contracts or commitments, so while your kid is ordering gear online, streaming highlight reels, or video chatting, your Xfinity internet price won't budge. And who knows, by the time the next Olympic Winter Games roll around, your kid could be getting fitted for their very own Team USA uniform. And guess what? You'll still be paying the same price for reliable Wi-Fi. And there's even more to enjoy with the Xfinity Gold Medal Celebration. Now through February 22nd, get their best price on gig Wi-Fi for 5 years guaranteed. Just $50 a month, plus get Peacock Premium included for 2 years. That's a $10.99 monthly value. Xfinity. Imagine that. Proud partner of Team USA. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Taxes and fees extra. Actual speeds vary.
Cougar Sports Saturday rolls on here on KSL News Radio. BYU basketball back in action tonight for a top 25 clash inside the Marriott Center. Pre-game begins at 7:30, tip-off at 8:30 for number 23 BYU versus number 6 Iowa State. Before BYU arrived in the Big 12, BYU had never defeated Iowa State. But since joining the league, Nate, BYU has had a lot of success against Iowa State.
Yeah, going back to just last year, I shared a video on X yesterday. I think one of my favorite plays from last basketball season was that alley-oop that Trey Stewart threw to Dallin Hall, and he threw it down to go up 20 in the second half over a top 10 Iowa State team. BYU swept Iowa State last year. They only met once in the regular season. That came on March 4th, so that was one of the final games of the regular season. BYU won it 88-85 in double overtime in Ames, and that's a very difficult place to win. They played again 9 days later in the Big 12 tournament. BYU took them down 96-92. You go back 2 years ago, BYU took them down when they were ranked number 24 in the country, 87-72 in Provo, and then they lost a close one at Iowa State, 68-63. That game was similar to the Texas Tech game that year where BYU was ahead for a lot of it, and then Iowa State kind of clawed back late. But Iowa State's been a really good matchup for BYU these first 2 years in the Big 12.
TJ Otzelberger, the head coach for Iowa State, he's been there since 2021. He's only lost 10 home games at Hilton Coliseum in Ames, and one of those wins was by BYU last year. Getting that victory in double overtime, one of the great games of the Kevin Young era. BYU probably should have won 2 years ago. They blew that game in the first year of the Big 12 with Mark Pope. They had a chance to win that one, and they choked it away. That was an early March game, and BYU had a chance to get a real signature victory against those Cyclones, who were a top 10 in predictive ratings at that time, and BYU squandered that game. So you're right. I mean, BYU has had a lot of success against Iowa State. The last time Iowa State rolled into Provo, BYU won in convincing fashion. It was a dominant win by 15 points and one of the better wins that BYU had in the early games of the Big 12 era for the Cougars. So this has been, a really good matchup for BYU over the last 2 years. And I bring that up because a lot of the same players still holding it down for this Iowa State team. Taman Lipsey, Milan Momcilovic. Curtis Jones is gone. He was kind of that guy that could come off the bench last year and go off for 30 on any given night. He was really good for Iowa State, but a lot of the key guys are the same for Iowa State. So BYU, maybe not this team has the familiarity, especially now with Richie gone, but Kevin Young has got the confidence of scouting, with Taman Lipsey and Milan Momcilovic and coming up with game plans that really work. I'm curious to see tonight if BYU can really speed up Iowa State, because some of the games where Iowa State has lost, their offense has kind of gotten stuck in mud and gone sideways. Can BYU impose their style of play against a team that prides itself on the defensive end, get this thing up and down, and string together some defensive stops and really speed them up? Because if it's like the game in Kansas City where it was an NBA style of play where it's in the 90s and it's up and down, fast-paced, three-pointers every which way you look. If it's a game like that, I like BYU's chances because BYU likes to play up and down ideally and get these games into the 90s potentially, but Iowa State would ideally, I think, like to keep this thing in the low 70s in the 70s range, and that's where BYU maybe could have a little bit of trouble, especially with them being a team that has struggled against some of these suffocating defenses in the Big 12 this year.
Yeah, and to your point, I think BYU's defense is capable of doing that.
Yep.
Now, they've struggled at times this year, but you look at games when it comes down to the wire, BYU starts putting on a full court press and they start forcing turnovers and get some quick points. We saw that against Arizona Wednesday night. And I don't know if it's just a conditioning thing. They can't do that the entire game. It's not UNLV's of the Mountain West days when they're just full court pressing the entire game and BYU can't get out of it. But I think BYU can do enough things to make things difficult for Iowa State, at least enough that they don't shoot to their regular clip, and BYU could have some success tonight.
Let's get to the three-pointer on the other side. We'll take a timeout, and we'll get you ready for BYU and Iowa State, a top 25 showdown in the Big 12, and we'll check in on scores around the league as Arizona and Houston continue to battle at the Fertitta Center. It's Cougar Sports Saturday on KSL News Radio.
Kitchen and bath transformations start with AMC Building Materials. AMC Building Materials is a large kitchen cabinet and countertop supplier serving both wholesale and retail customers. AMC offers factory direct pricing on all interior remodeling materials, giving you exceptional value without sacrificing quality. Most standard items are available for quick payment and pickup right away. AMC Building Materials provides professional service, free design, and free on-site measurements, along with expert installation by top AMC professionals. From bold kitchen designs to beautiful functional bathrooms, AMC delivers outstanding value with styles you'll love. And best of all, most projects can be completed within just 10 days. Come experience beauty you can see, quality you can feel, and service you can trust. Get directions to the new AMC Building Materials showroom at 3678 South 700 West today and schedule your free estimate. Visit amckitchenslc.org. That's amckitchenslc.org.
When your car is making a strange noise, no matter what it is, you can't just pretend it's not happening.
That's an interesting sound.
It's like your mental health. If you're struggling and feeling overwhelmed, it's important to do something about it. It can be as simple as talking to someone in your community, or just taking a deep, calming breath when you need it. Nice. For mental health resources, check out loveyourmindtoday.org. At loveyourmindtoday.org, you'll find information that may help you get through a tough time. Things like tips for dealing with stress, how to navigate difficulties like financial worries, anger, substance use, and more. You can also find real stories of how people navigated their own mental health challenges. Because once you start to address the problem, you can go so much further. Visit loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
Did you know your baby might need their first dental visit sooner than you think? Did you know your baby should visit the dentist after their first tooth appears or by their first birthday? Keep your family healthy. Your smile matters. Babies can get cavities as soon as they have teeth. Bad bacteria can be transferred to a baby's mouth through unwashed spoons or pacifiers. Pacifiers dipped in sugar or sweetened drinks can also cause cavities. Prevention begins by using a small, soft toothbrush and a little fluoride toothpaste. Grain of rice size ages 1 to 2 and a pea size ages 3 to 6. Practice with your baby before their first dental exam. A dental professional can give you the best advice to keep your baby healthy and smiling. If you don't have a dentist, visit yoursmileutah.org for more information on community dental services. This message brought to you by Utah Oral Health Coalition, Utah Dental Association, University of Utah School of Dentistry, the Utah Department of Health and Human Services, and other Utah health partners. Remember, a healthy smile means a healthier life.
Your smile matters.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Couponing. Wow, you didn't strike me as the coupon type.
Just trying to stay ahead of inflation. Gas, groceries, everything. It's all more expensive. I need to save wherever I can.
Have you tried Upside yet?
Upside? What's that?
It's a free app that I use that pays cash back for every gallon of gas I buy. You've got to buy gas to get around anyway. Might as well get paid for it.
Come on, does that really add up to anything?
I've already made around $200. The extra cash helped pay down my bills, and I even had a little extra left to treat myself.
And the Upside app is free?
Totally free, and the cash back is real. You can transfer the cash right to your bank account.
I'm downloading Upside right now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code ENJOY to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code ENJOY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code ENJOY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, today through Sunday. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, today through Sunday. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. 18-month interest-free financing. Our factories have demanded we sell 1,000 hot tubs and swim spas this weekend. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Huge factory incentives, factory rebates, this weekend only. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. We can remove your old hot tub. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Deep, deep discounts. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Just relax and enjoy. Today through Sunday. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Today, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Tomorrow, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Free admission, free parking, free delivery. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Call 833-SPA-SALE or visit hottubandSwimSpaSale.com.
It's Cougar Sports Saturday.
Touchdown! Stayed inside the boundary and gets in for 6.
Cougar Sports Saturday, a presentation of KSL Sports.
Richie right to the rim, driving score!
BYU Sports Talk by Cougar fans for Cougar fans. Here's your host, Mitch Harper, on Utah's legacy home of the Cougars. KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Mitch Harper, Nate Slack here on Cougar Sports Saturday. Appreciate all of you for tuning in, whether it's on KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, KSLNewsRadio.com, KSLSports.com, News Radio or sports apps. So many different ways to listen, and of course on the podcast and on YouTube. So many different ways to listen and watch Cougar Sports Saturday. Appreciate you for spending your Saturday with us as we get ready for BYU basketball tonight against the Iowa State Cyclones. Tip-off at 8:30 here on KSL. That's for the men's team. The women's team got a little bit of a rivalry game going on against Utah just up the street from us at the Huntsman Center. BYU women, who, until their recent dip in performance, they had a just gut-wrenching loss at home against Cincinnati that really took them off women's bracketology. They were a team that's been hanging around bracket outlooks and maybe an at-large team, but that doesn't seem to be the case now. Still, they're facing Utah today. 3:49 to go in the second quarter. BYU women are up 28-21 on the Utes. A couple weeks ago, they took down Utah in Provo. So maybe Lee Kumar's squad could get hot in the postseason and try to fight back into the bracket conversation for this season, which much improved team compared to last year, but still some issues with turnovers. Haven't had as great of a season, I think, efficiency-wise from Delaney Gibb. Let's see if they can get a win over the rival Utes today. Also around the Big 12 on the men's side, Arizona up 42-41 with 14:30 to go against Houston. We're watching that one right now as Emmanuel Sharp puts up a three, misses it. Arizona holding on to a 1-point lead in that one. We'll keep tabs on that throughout the remainder of this show. But Nate, it's time now for the three-pointer as we deep dive into BYU versus Iowa State, give some stats, some players, and some bold predictions. We'll start with the stat to watch in this game. What's the stat you're keeping an eye on?
I'm going to go with 2-10, and that is the combined record for Big 12 teams after they have played Arizona.
Oh, okay.
So it's always difficult to know how much weight to put into that. Is it just based on the schedule, who they're playing the week after Arizona? Is it because Arizona bangs them up a little bit? I don't know, but 2-10, like, that's a good enough sample size. It's a concern that I have.
It's kind of noteworthy, too, especially considering prior to BYU, the last team that faced Arizona was Texas Tech a week ago, who went into Tucson, won, and was on a high of high. They then go to Tempe, play Arizona State, lose the Sun Devils, and also lose JT Toppin for the season.
Yeah, and Is it because Arizona plays so physically? I don't know. But the fact that Big 12 teams are 2-10 after playing Arizona, and those 2 wins were against the 2 bottom teams in the Big 12 Conference, Utah and Kansas State.
Interesting. That's a good stat. For me, the stat I'm watching is 64%. That's Iowa State's free throw percentage in Big 12 play this season. They are last place in the Big 12. If this game is close and BYU's got a chance and they're shooting into the rock, the Iowa State Cyclones, I mean,
for Chick-fil-A chicken nuggets, Mitch,
you just get, even if BYU's getting blown out and they're shooting in the rock, you got the Chick-fil-A on the line. That fan base, the Cougar fans are going to be hyped. But then you added maybe a close game potentially, game on the line. This Iowa State team, not good from the charity stripe. BYU, I think since the issues against Houston where they were missing free throws left and right, I think A.J. DeBonson in particular has been much better from the free throw line. BYU against Arizona was 13 of 16. That's 81%. You'll take that every night. That's going to put you in a position to, win ball games and have a chance to be right there against good teams. You got to take care of business from the free throw line if you're BYU. But Iowa State has struggled a lot from that spot, so that's something I'm keeping tabs on. And we know, again, we've seen it all the time. The Rock, they get hyped up. In that second half with the Chick-fil-A, it's going to be rocking. So Iowa State could be rattled from the charity stripe tonight.
Yeah, it's free throws, especially for BYU. They get to the free throw line a lot more often this year than they did last year. A.J. DeBansa seems to be really hit and miss, but it helps when the opponent isn't hitting the free throws. It takes a little more stress off of BYU to be hitting theirs, but you also don't want to lose out on that opportunity to score when you have the chance.
A.J. shooting 75.6% from the free throw line this season, 221 attempts for A.J. He gets to the line often in 26 games this season. I mean, that's close to about, 8 attempts per game. He gets the line often. And look, I think it could be more, though. That's what's crazy. I feel like there's so many games where I feel like refs are swallowing the whistle. All the contact that A.J. is generating and receiving from opposing defenses could be a lot more, his visits to the free throw line. But that area of the game will be one to watch tonight against Iowa State. Players to watch in this game, I'll start things off. For me, it's Rob Wright for BYU and Tamin Lipsey for Iowa State. Iowa State, particularly Tamin Lipsey, I was watching the game on Monday night where they beat Houston on Big Monday. Fran Fraschilla, the voice of the Big 12, he was saying Tamin Lipsey makes Tamin plays is what they call it, Iowa State. And it's true. He's not always going to be the biggest bucket getter for Iowa State, but he has a knack for getting in passing lanes, stealing the basketball. Iowa State's got 3 guys in the Big 12 that are in the top 20 in steals per game. Tamin Lipsey is up there. He's second in steals in Big 12 action, 1.92 steals per game, Tamin Lipsey. So he makes those impactful plays, and I feel like Rob Wright, his pace of play has been so much better in recent games. The Arizona one withstanding, I don't think that was his greatest performance, but Rob Wright has to take care of the basketball, not give up those turnovers that Tamin Lipsey seems to generate when he faces teams, and he's got to play at a great pace and finish around the rim, Rob Wright, because there's been a lot of times in games earlier this year, he'll get to the rim. He'll get to the bucket. He's one of the best paint-touching guards in college basketball, but sometimes he'll miss those layups. He's got to be efficient when he gets those opportunities. So that point guard battle between Lipsey and Rob Wright, I can't wait for that one. Who are the guys you're watching out for?
Yeah, I think those are good picks. I'm going to be picking, it's going to sound kind of like a cop-out answer, but I'm going with A.J. DeBansa for BYU.
How can you not?
You have to, especially with Richie Saunders being gone, you have to go for Rob Wright and A.J. DeBansa to carry the load for BYU. So I think A.J. DeBansa is going to have a big game for BYU to come out on top, but we know he's capable of that. He has the consistency. He's able to get to a spot. You've mentioned a couple times on the show, he likes to get to that Big 12 logo right inside the key, and he's virtually unstoppable from that spot. There's a lot of player comps that he had before the season started to like a Tracy McGrady, but that era is really with Dirk Nowitzki and Kobe Bryant and Tracy McGrady. They love to have that little turnaround jumper and kind of fading away at the same time. that's where A.J. DeBance is at his best. So I expect him to be a big player for BYU today. And then for Iowa State, I'm looking at Milan Momcilovic. I got to do better with these European names, Mitch. But I'm going with him. He's one of Iowa State's best players, if not their best player. Sharpshooter, he's shooting 51.3% from three this season, 46.3% from three on the road. He's just been a lights-out guy, and with BYU's defensive struggles at times, especially from the three-point range, that's gonna have to be a guy that BYU's locked in on. Maybe Kennard Davis gets a special opportunity to really try to lock him up. But after the performance that Arizona had shooting the three ball on Wednesday night, I think a guy like Milan is probably licking his chops.
Momcilovic, the best three-point shooter in the Big 12. He's number one in three-point percentage in league play at 49%. He's number one in free throw percentage. So he kind of bucks the trend of what Iowa State does from the free throw line, 91%. He's had 2 games this year in Big 12 play where he's hit 8 threes in a game, one of which was a loss against Cincinnati. But Momcilovic is lights out. There better not be any situation where BYU leaves him open for a three. He has to be accounted for at all times. I'll give a bonus guy, too, for Iowa State. Nate Heisey. He's kind of an X factor. He hits those corner threes for Iowa State. Also of note with him, because we are KSL, we love our Olympics, his sister on USA hockey women's team, Taylor Heisey, she won gold medal with Team USA hockey team. So the Heisey family has been on a high this week with Taylor Heisey winning the gold medal, and then Nate Heisey winning a big game earlier this week against Houston. Hopefully BYU can bring down the Heisey just a little bit. Not Taylor, because she represents Team USA, but Nate. Can't have him get a big win against BYU today. Final thing in our three-pointer breakdown of BYU versus Iowa State. Bold predictions. What you got for tonight?
I've got AJ dropping 40 points. Second time this season. Rob Wright almost had that last week. He had a 39-point performance.
Gosh, he should have hit that free throw, man.
I know. He's kicking himself too. But I've got AJ dropping 40 points. I think BYU's going to need that kind of performance. And it touches back on you need to replace the points that Richie Saunders isn't going to be able to provide. And I think that's where AJ is going to take a lot more of a load on himself. Sometimes it's not the most exciting basketball to watch when he spaces everybody out and they're just kind of waiting on the three-point line and he's got to do his thing and he dribbles and takes it hard to the hoop. But that's what BYU is going to have to do probably the rest of the season to have a lot of success.
I like that, though. And if he does get to that, he would set the freshman Big 12 record for most 35-plus point games in a freshman season. He would pass Trae Young and Michael Beasley and have the record because it would be his 6th 35-plus point game, the most by a freshman in the history of the Big 12. So if he does that, it would be a historic moment for A.J. DeBance, who also set the freshman scoring record earlier this week, passing Danny Ainge for the highest scoring freshman season by a BYU player. My bold prediction, BYU hits 15 threes in this game. I think Cougars are going to be lights out from three tonight. And it doesn't guarantee a win because we saw against Arizona a few weeks back, they hit 13 threes in Provo. And that didn't seem to change the outlook. But I think it could be a real X factor in this one because when you got sharpshooters like Momcilovic and Heisey, you better be able to counterpunch. And you can go to the traditional way, and BYU's got those guys that can get the traditional and ones. But I think it'd be very beneficial for this team and for Moo Davis and for maybe an Alexei Kostic, who had a big three last week in the overtime win over Colorado, hitting some threes. So I'm going to go 15 threes for BYU in this game against Iowa State. So that's our bold prediction. That's our three-pointer for BYU and Iowa State. Let's take our final break. And on the other side, we'll give you our score predictions. Will the Cougars get it done and get that signature win? We'll discuss that next here on Cougar Sports Saturday.
Gold demand is skyrocketing to record highs. As more Americans rush to preserve their savings, will there be enough gold? I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and I believe physical gold is the only way to truly protect your 401k or IRA savings. Gold offers tangible security that can't be tracked, stolen, or inflated. That's why I strongly advocate for gold IRAs. To learn more, text the word SECURE to 989898 now. Birch Gold Group will send you a free info kit on gold IRAs. Birch Gold is the only gold company I trust, and their thousands of great reviews prove I'm not alone. So don't wait another second. Protect your retirement savings today and see how easy it is to move your IRA or 401k into physical precious metals. Text SECURE to the number 989898 for your free gold IRA info kit. Again, SECURE to 989898.
Message and data rates may apply.
The show may be over, but the deals are still on at Paris RV.
How about an Easy Tow with a 25 Rockwood 190 OTG for only $7,995 or $129 a month? How about some bunks? Hook up to the 26 Heartland Prowler 2500 bunkhouse for only $17,995 or $205 a month. Want to stay put for a while? Then put the 26 Forest River Cherokee Timberwolf 20 OG destination trailer in the spot of your dreams for only $44,995 or $456 a month. Only
at Paris RV.
Paris RV is your locally owned, family-run RV dealership. We strive hard to find the very best RVs for the price. With 4 locations, over 1,000 RVs in stock, 42 service bays, and 4 super parts stores, we're sure to help take your family on the best RV vacation. Check out our perfect family bunkhouse trailer, the 26BH, that sleeps 9 for $19,995 or $227 a month, zero down. Life is short. Enjoy it. North Murray, South Murray, Payson, and Pocatello. ParisRV.com.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
There are many times I thought, I can't do this. I mean, what parent isn't worried about? What am I not doing right? What am I not doing enough? And then I realized, wait, that's being a parent.
Don't worry about being perfect. I've had around 3 other mother figures in my life, but only one of them has taught me how a mother loves.
The greatest reward for me is he makes me better every day.
I would tell a family considering adopting a teenager that teenager, whoever it is, needs you, and they need what you have to offer.
Taylor's given me hope. He's our son, and that is what he will always be.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. A message brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Does it feel like someone's stabbing a knife into your heel? Or does your lower back give you problems as the day goes on? The Good Feet store wants to help you like we helped Ann.
Every time I stood up, pain just shot up my legs. Fortunately, I found the Good Feet store. I went to them after my doctor diagnosed me with plantar fasciitis. And now, thanks to the Good Feet store, I'm 100%.
Wouldn't it be nice to get back to doing what you love, like Patrick did?
I was in constant pain. Somehow my fiance and I found our way into the Good Feet store. Put my foot on the arch support system. I put them in my shoes, my back, my knees, my ankles. Thank you. Thank you, everybody at the Good Feet store. You gave me my active life back.
Learn more or schedule an appointment at goodfeet.com and come in and get your free personalized fitting at the Good Feet store. We have locations in Farmington, Riverton, and Sandy.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
If you've ever set New Year's resolutions before, you know how difficult it is to follow through because you have to wait to see the results. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and in honor of your New Year, New You resolutions, Any Hour Services is having our New Year, New System sale. From now until the end of February, Any Hour Services will give you $2,026 off a new furnace and air conditioner. And you don't have to wait to save the money. You get $2,026 off at the time of purchase. The only thing you have to do to qualify for our New Year, New System sale is call Any Hour Services and schedule a free estimate. When you call, there's no obligation to buy. Just schedule a time to meet that works best for you. Let me say that again. From now until the end of February, when you have Any Hour Services install a new furnace and air conditioner, we'll give you $2,026 off. Call Any Hour Services right now and schedule a free estimate. 801-443-7400. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Cougar Sports Saturday, final segment of the show. BYU basketball back in action tonight. The number 23 ranked Cougars looking to hold on to their place in the AP Top 25. It requires a win tonight against number 6 Iowa State. BYU looking for their first win over a top 10 team at the Marriott Center since, do you know, Nate? Putting you on the spot here.
Oh, man. Is it Gonzaga?
It's Gonzaga.
2020.
2020, when they beat number 2 Gonzaga before COVID, before the world shut down. So in the post-COVID world that we live in today, the Cougars have not had a top 10 win over a team in the Marriott Center. Now, granted, it's not very often that top 10 teams are rolling into the Marriott Center, even in the Big 12. It doesn't always happen. But BYU's got that chance tonight against Iowa State to get a signature win, and maybe more impactful than just a historical perspective is getting a signature win to boost the NCAA tournament resume and send a message to the committee that this BYU team, even without Richie Saunders, can be a team that contends against anyone in college basketball, because as we learned today, Nate, the selection committee has Iowa State ranked as a number 1 seed if the NCAA tournament started today. So with all that said, will the Cougars get it done and take down the Cyclones? What's your score prediction?
Yeah, I've got to correct my mistake from last week, and I've got to come clean. I said BYU is going to beat Colorado by 32.
Yeah.
I was nowhere close, Mitch.
Hey, but the thing is, Richie went down in the first 47 seconds, but still.
Otherwise, they would have won by 32.
Yeah. They would have won. I'd like to think. I don't know.
I felt a need to do that for Jimmer Fredette's jersey retirement. I didn't know if they were going to win by 32, but anyway.
This life is amazing.
And that new song that TJ Fredette dropped this past week.
Try to block it. It's like, yes, it's 2011 all over again.
Oh, that was such a fun season.
Oh, my gosh, it's 2011 all over again, except this time I'm married and I have kids.
I have responsibilities.
Back then I was single and I was dating ladies. Anyway, continue.
Oh, jeez.
This life is amazing.
I think BYU's going to pull it out tonight, Mitch. And I think so because BYU's kind of lacking that big win that we've just kind of grown accustomed to them having, whether it's the win at Kansas they had a couple of years ago. Last year they had a handful down the stretch. Iowa State was one of those. So I think BYU is going to come energized. I think they're going to bring a little more intensity than they've had the last few weeks. I really liked what I saw out of Keba Keita.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Just from an aggressive standpoint against Arizona, because it seems like he's kind of dropped off the map since his hand injury. And he's had that concussion he dealt with against UConn. This year's Keba Keita just hasn't been the same. And I don't know if it's because of the style of play, because he doesn't get as many lobs as he did last year with Dallin Hall and Yegor Dioman. But I think today is the day that BYU just they answer the call, they play well, and they pull out a win. I'm going to go 79-76, and I think those missed free throws from Iowa State come in clutch, and I think BYU pulls it out.
I like it. I'm with you, Nate. I'm going with a BYU win as well. I think at some point, as Kevin Young has talked about, that rock's going to break at some point. They're going to keep pounding that rock and try to break through and get one of these wins. I think it's been really taxing on KY to be so close in these games against good teams. Top 16 teams, according to the selection committee. We learned that today. And to be so close, yet in many respects feels so far because they're trying to reinvent themselves on the fly without Richie Saunders. But I always like BYU's chances at the Marriott Center regardless of the opponent. I always like, in that building, I believe in Marriott Center magic, even though we could debate, are aliens real? Did President Obama reveal classified information? Is Trump going to declassify? Anyway, I believe in Marriott Center magic, and I think there's going to be a case of Marriott Center magic tonight. I love your bold prediction of AJ going for 40 because BYU is going to need every one of those 40 points if that happens. I said a bold prediction of 15 threes. They're going to need a bunch of threes, at least 10 threes from BYU in this one, but I'm going to go bold and say 15 threes. BYU wins 84-81. The Cougs get it done. It's going to be close. I would be surprised if BYU blew out this team. Iowa State, this is the best Iowa State team BYU will have faced since joining the Big 12. And look, Iowa State could absolutely win this game. There's no doubt in my mind. I mean, again, they're a number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament as of today. But I feel like BYU's been so close, and I like the fight. I like the messaging from Kevin Young. I like the willingness to battle. It could have been easy to go into Tucson on Wednesday and just fold up shop and say, you know what, guys, we're taking an L. And yes, they did lose that game, but they battled for 40 minutes. I didn't question the effort without Richie. And that was something you can build off of with this team, that they're trying to get better and get this right and make a run in March. And I think if you can have a breakthrough and break that rock tonight against a good Iowa State team, I think that could do a world of good for this team. I think they get it done, 84-81.
They need to, Mitch, because this is a seed changer for BYU, whether it's a win or a loss. If being on the 5 seed line is so much better than being on the 6 seed line, just because of what games you're playing down the stretch. And if they lose, it just gives the committee reasons to say, yeah, BYU is fraudulent. We saw that in football. We've seen that so many times, Mitch, and whether it's football or basketball, you can't give them a reason to discount BYU.
And it's a great point, because this is a good barometer for the committee to evaluate BYU minus Richie Saunders and say, they're going up against a team we view as a number 1 seed. How did they perform? Did they go blow for 40 minutes and were right there at the end? That might say to them, hey, this BYU team, even without Saunders, is really good, and let's call it what it is. A.J. DeBon says a box office event. You want him in this NCAA tournament making a run. BYU gets a win. I'm going to say, and you're agreeing with me, so Cougs break through and get that signature win. We'll see if it happens. 8:30 p.m. tip-off, pregame at 7:30 right here on KSL. We'll have coverage inside the Marriott Center on KSLSports.com. We'll talk to you next Saturday. We'll get you ready for BYU basketball next week, and we'll talk spring football as well, right here on Cougar Sports Saturday on KSL News Radio.
KSL FM Midvale, KSL Salt Lake City.
From ABC News, I'm Chuck Sievertson. Looks like many of the tens of millions in the East could get buried in the first blizzard since 2016. A nor'easter's on the way tomorrow into Monday. Could drop a foot or more from the southeast to the northeast, including along the I-95 corridor. New York City forecast to get between 13 and 17 inches of snow and could get 20, says Mayor Zoran Mamdani.
New Yorkers can expect that Monday morning commute will be extremely hazardous, with heavy snowfall and peak winds coinciding to create slippery conditions and greatly reduced visibility.
Dangerous icy conditions expected as above freezing temps dayside turning to freezing at night, says the mayor. Those 10% global tariffs President Trump announced for a bunch of countries have been tweaked up to 15% today. They're under a different law than the one that led the Supreme Court to invalidate most of his previous tariffs. Thousands of companies are suing the Trump administration demanding refunds for tariffs. KPMG chief economist Diane Swank.
The logistics of getting refunds are very hard, and particularly for those small businesses that have suffered the most, they're not likely to be able to get access to all of these refunds in any timely manner. A larger company, of course, can add more resources to doing this and waiting out the process, where small businesses that have paid the price are having a much harder time.
Police officers searching the home of the former British Prince Andrew for a third day over his connection with Jeffrey Epstein. Police say U.S. law enforcers are helping see if U.K. airports were used for sex trafficking. Measles cases in the U.S. keep rising, nearly 1,000 total, say federal health officials. ABC's Morgan Norwood.
Nearly 60% of cases are in children and teens ages 5 to 19, with another quarter in kids under 5, and almost all, about 94% of those infected, are either unvaccinated or their vaccination status is unknown.
You're listening to ABC News.
The company you work for just froze your pension. Now what? Should you take the lump sum or monthly payments? What happens to your spouse if something happens to you? And how does this impact your Social Security benefits? If you're like most people, you have more questions than answers. But here's the bigger problem right now. If you make a wrong decision here, it could cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars in retirement. That's why you need to know all of your options so you can make the right decision for you and your family. Boss Retirement Solutions, right here in Utah, offers a free, comprehensive pension review for individuals with $300,000 or more in retirement savings. Call 801-896-9622 for your free analysis now. That's